Chapter 1541 Endless battles on the first level. One battle after another, continuous battles. Dongfangzi gradually gained experience. After each battle, he would have about an hour to rest and recover. After an hour, the enemies would come to his door. No matter how he tried to avoid them, it was useless. The enemies seemed to know exactly where he was. This left him with no chance to search for the stone tablet and token. Time was spent in battle and recovery. Dongfangzi thought of Lin Moyu. This kind of situation seemed particularly favorable to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu's skeleton army was not afraid of the enemy's numbers at all. This made him feel unfair, as if the rules were constantly favoring Lin Moyu. He felt a surge of anger in his heart, but he couldn't vent it. Thinking of a sentence in the rules, "No complaints allowed," he lost his temper again. He gritted his teeth, accepting one battle after another, thinking dejectedly, why haven't those two guys come yet? The second person to enter the first level was Wei Bowen. He entered the area that was the territory of the Three Silver Clan. Like Dongfangzi, he encountered attacks from the Three Silver Clan. Unlike the previous two levels, the alien races in the first level would actively seek out enemies. It was as if they had become the invaders. Wei Bowen also had similar thoughts to Dongfangzi, but he also knew that no matter how the rules changed, they always favored the strong. Lin Moyu was strong enough, so no matter how the rules changed, it wouldn't change that fact. After that, Zhuangbai and others also entered the first level. After entering the first level, they quickly found each other's location through the telepathic puppets and moved closer together. The five people met again. Whether it was Qingfei, Shui Zilan, or Zhuangbai, none of them revealed that the telepathic puppets could transmit sound. Everyone seemed to understand each other tacitly. Only a few people's faces were slightly awkward, losing some naturalness. Chu Shang couldn't figure out the situation and wanted to ask for clarification. Suddenly, Qingfei looked towards the distance. In the distance, a dark mass of demons was flying towards them. "Prepare to fight," Qingfei shouted softly. The sound of a sword rang out, and the long sword was already in her hand. They were also facing intense battles, exactly the same as what Dongfangzi and Wei Bowen were facing. The difference was that they were 5 people together, but the number of enemies they encountered was the same as for a single person. With the 5 people joining forces, it was not difficult to deal with. The battle formation composed of 100 demons was quickly defeated. Watching the demons disappear into specks of light, the 5 people breathed a sigh of relief. Qingfei said in a low voice, "Don't you guys feel that something is wrong?" Zhuangbai didn't say anything, and Chu Shang asked strangely, "What's wrong?" Shui Zilan said, "It's indeed a bit strange. When we gathered just now, we didn't see any demon tribes or cities along the way. Where did these demons come from? Also, these demons seem to be able to form battle formations like real armies." Chu Shang shook his head, "It's not quite the same as the real ones. I've fought against demon battle formations before, and real demon battle formations are stronger than them." Zhuangbai said, "If it were a real demon battle formation, it would indeed be much stronger." Qingfei said, "I'm not referring to that aspect. I feel that these demons seem to have their own thoughts." They all knew that the alien races on the 3rd and 2nd levels were simulated by formations. Although they were very close to reality, there were always some differences. But now, this difference has been narrowed. Qingfei's senses were very sharp, and she felt this change. But she couldn't say anything more specific. Apart from her, Zhuangbai and the others didn't have this feeling, not even Shui Zilan. Qingfei couldn't understand why either, so she could only temporarily put aside her thoughts. Qingfei said, "Let's try to find the stone tablet or giant beast first." The others agreed to her suggestion and quickly began searching. An hour later, another army of demons came to their door, and the great battle started again. The battle never stopped. When Lin Moyu entered, he also encountered the same situation. However, for Lin Moyu, a mere 100-man battle formation was nothing. He had experienced battle formations of tens of millions of people, and a large number of demon enemies were wiped out under his hands. The skeleton god generals, as the best thugs, quickly solved them. Lin Moyu was never afraid of having more people. There's another change. During the great battle, Lin Moyu felt the difference in the first level. What was the same as before was that these alien races were still simulated by formations. There was no problem with this point. The problem was with the individuals. Also as the formation simulation, the guys on the first floor, less rigid, more agility. It seems that the formation not only simulates the appearance, but also gives them a certain wisdom. A puppet without wisdom and a puppet with wisdom are completely two different concepts. That's like a magic weapon with a weapon spirit and a magic weapon without a weapon spirit, not on the same level at all. Lin Moyu thought deeply, if it is possible to simulate a wise god, and then find a way to mobilize the power of the Lost Star River, it would be strong. He felt that the formation should be developing in this direction, but the difficulty was very high. Seeking fresh flowers, a large number of skeleton god generals spread out, and also began to look for stone tablets and giant beasts. Here, Lin Moyu's advantage became more obvious. Dongfang Zi and Wei Bowen were trapped by a constant stream of enemies, exhausted and unable to move. Although Zhuang Bai and the others could still move, their efficiency was greatly reduced. Only he was not affected at all. However, Lin Moyu searched for a long time and did not find any stone tablets or giant beasts. Until after the last 5 people entered the first level, the formation in the air suddenly started. Countless dense runes appeared in the air, and a huge pressure pressed down from the air. Except for Lin Moyu, everyone else could not stay in the air and fell to the ground. Lin Moyu felt a soul pressure close to the other shore realm. In the undead vision, he saw countless clusters of soul flames burning fiercely behind the formation. 0. The soul flames were strong and weak. The weakest was the 9th rank of the God King, and the strongest was already the God Lord. These soul flames were fused with the formation and arranged in a strange way, forming a beautiful pattern. The pattern seemed to be a huge rune, containing mysterious laws and mysteries. At this moment, Lin Moyu suddenly understood something. Planning to forcibly simulate wisdom through the souls of living beings. Who came up with this formation? It's incredibly strong. If it succeeds, who can compare to the human race? The huge voice of the Human Emperor Network interrupted Lin Moyu's thoughts. All contestants please note, the following will explain the rules of the first level. Every period of time, enemies will launch attacks on the contestants. Each attack, the number of enemies will be greater than the previous one. The interval between each attack will be shortened. After the attack starts, the stone tablet will randomly appear on the field. Activating the stone tablet will summon a guardian beast. Killing the guardian beast will reward a corresponding token. Please note that fighting the guardian beast may attract enemies. Open black lens bracket. Please note that the number of monsters attracted by each player is the same and will not change. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Please note that the guardian beasts are very powerful, so please deal with them carefully. Close black lens bracket. The Human Emperor Network announced all the rules. Overall, it remains the same, still searching for stels and tokens. But the method has changed. This time, there's no need to search for giant beasts. You only need to find the stele, then activate it, and kill the guardian beast that appears to obtain the token. It seems much more convenient, but upon closer inspection, you'll find that the difficulty has greatly increased. Chapter 1542. Soul Runes Imbued with Wisdom. Everyone was pondering the rules. Judging from the rules alone, changes have occurred compared to when they first entered. Previously, each batch of enemies that came was the same in number, realm, and time. From now on, the number of enemies in each batch will vary, with each wave being more numerous than the last. The time between waves will also gradually shorten, with each wave coming faster than the last. In other words, the longer it drags on, the more dangerous it becomes. Moreover, after eliminating the enemies, they need to quickly find the stele before the next round of enemies arrives. The time it takes for each person to resolve the battle is uncertain, some are faster and some are slower. The slower ones will be at a great disadvantage. The time left for them to find the stele will be very short. After finding the stele, they still have to deal with the guardian beast, which is very strong and will also attract enemies. Whether the enemies attracted by the guardian beast overlap with the enemies that arrive on schedule is unknown. The most important point is still time. The longer it drags on, the higher the difficulty will be. 680. Qing Fei's expression was somewhat serious, not just her, but the others as well. Zhuang Bai tried to remain calm. It seems the number of enemies in our next wave will be beyond imagination. Previously, when the 5 of them were together, the number of enemies they faced was exactly 100. In fact, they didn't know how many enemies they would face alone. Whether 100 enemies were the number they 5 had to face was unknown. But thinking about it, it's unlikely to be such a good thing. Now, any of the 5 of them can deal with 100 enemies, it's just a matter of being faster or slower. Shui Zilan said, we need to think of the worst-case scenario. What if the number of enemies increases 5-fold? How will we cope? Qing Fei thought for a moment, I think we need a multi-pronged approach. If possible, 3 people should handle the enemies, and 2 people should split up to find the steel. Shui Zilan overturned Qing Fei's idea, that's not necessary. I can find the steel, as long as it appears, I can find it. A small red sprite appeared on her shoulder, looking very cute. Chu Shang's eyes lit up, what's this? Looks like fun. The red sprite seemed a little afraid of Chu Shang, and with a whoosh, it shrank behind Shui Zilan, but then it poked its little head out and made a face at Chu Shang. Shui Zilan said, this is my summon, Little Red. She can find the steel. Qing Fei didn't doubt Shui Zilan's words. She followed Shui Zilan's words, since that's the case, then we'll deal with the first wave of enemies first, and then have your Little Red go find the steel. But we also have a problem. We need 5 stealths, and we need to activate the stealths together to leave after obtaining 5 tokens. Chu Shang said in a low voice, isn't that how it should be? We're a team, we live or die together. Shui Zilan glared at him, that's not the right way to put it. Chu Shang scratched his head, I misspoke. We're going to win together. This is their problem, they need to act together. Win or lose, it's together. If anyone leaves first, the remaining 4 will be in big trouble. Fortunately, in the second layer, the most basic trust had been established between them, so there shouldn't be any problems in this regard. After discussing, they began to prepare. On the other side, Dongfang Zi found his 2 teammates. Wei Bowen was the same. The 2 from the White Tiger Star region joined together, their faces solemn. Among the several combinations, their combat power was the worst, and this layer would be difficult to pass. Only Lin Mo was unafraid. A large number of skeleton divine generals spread out. As long as a steel appeared, it would definitely be discovered by him. However, Lin Mo's real attention was not on this. For him, advancing to the next stage was not a problem at all. He was more interested in this formation. He really wanted to know to what extent the human race had researched this formation. At this time, the Human Emperor Network's prompt appeared again. Open black lens bracket. The first round of attacks will begin in 1 minute, please be prepared, close black lens bracket. There will be a reminder before the attack begins, which seems quite humane, not doing surprise attacks. But the more it is like this, the more it makes people feel that it is not that simple. Soon, everyone saw their enemies. Dongfang Zi encountered the Golden Eagle clan again. Because he was now with 2 other people, there were more than 300 Golden Eagle clan members coming. The 300 Golden Eagle clan members formed 3 squads, coming side by side. Each squad was composed of a little Divine Lord, plus 99 Divine King 9th Order members. Dongfang Zi said in a low voice, I'll be responsible for dealing with them, you go find the steel. The 2 nodded, this was what they had discussed beforehand. Dongfang Zi was the strongest of the 3, and it was no problem for him to deal with 3 squads at the same time. Wei Bowen's side was similar. He singled out 2 Silver Clan squads, letting his companions go find the steel. The 2 from the White Tiger Star region were unable to complete a one-on-one fight. They needed to work together to solve the problem before going to find the steel. Qing Fei's side welcomed 500 Demon Clan members. The Demon Clan formed battle blades, turning into 5 battle blades, rushing towards the 5 people. Shui Zilan said to the sprite Little Red, find the steel. Little Red cried out, and with a whoosh, rushed into the sky, turning into 10,000 red lines and disappearing. Qing Fei said, this is even more useful than my myriad spirit bird. Although her myriad spirit bird could also find the steel, she couldn't concentrate on fighting while searching. Shui Zilan said softly, Little Red is indeed very good. As she spoke, 3 puppets of the Little Divine Lord realm appeared beside her. They had to eliminate their opponents in the shortest possible time. Just as everyone started to act, the battle on Lin Mo's side had already ended. There were only 100 enemies, but there were tens of thousands of skeleton divine generals. A round of sword energy passed, killing them cleanly. For others, it was a difficult battle, but for Lin Mo, it was like child's play. The skeletons had already begun searching for the steel. Lin Mo's eyes were always fixed on the formation at this moment. In his eyes, the formation was divided into two levels. One was simulating almost real enemies, which was only the first level. The second level was the runes composed of soul fire, which gave the creations of the formation wisdom. When the enemies appeared just now, the runes composed of soul fire did vibrate, and also sprinkled a trace of power, but not much. Perhaps the guardian beast will receive more wisdom. Let's see when the time comes. The more I look at this formation, the more interesting it becomes. If it can be used on my undead legion. Lin Mo was very interested, and it was precisely because of this that he wanted to thoroughly study this formation. See if it can be applied to my undead army. It would be interesting if the skeletons had intelligence. Lin Moyu knew he wasn't just daydreaming. After experiencing many events related to the ancient times, he saw the ancient army. 4.1 Those skeletons have many similarities to his own undead army. They can all possess intelligence, so why can't his undead army? Soon, a stone tablet was found, and Lin Moyu rushed over to activate it directly. While activating it, Lin Moyu kept his eyes fixed on the formation in the sky. In his sight, the surface formation began to operate with a bang, first locking onto the activated stone tablet, and then a huge force gathered, forming a guardian beast. Immediately afterward, the runes composed of soul fire in the inner layer also began to vibrate. The soul fire burned fiercely, projecting a large amount of soul power, which merged with the power of the formation. Lin Moyu seemed to hear whispers from the dark, and countless soul consciousnesses intertwined at this moment. A guardian beast, huge in size and tiger-like in appearance, formed before his eyes. The power of the soul changed from chaos to order. A sharp light flashed in the guardian beast's eyes, showing the light of spirituality, a light that only intelligent beings can possess. Chapter 1543. It died before I even made a move. A spiritual light appeared in the guardian beast's eyes, and the light became stronger and stronger, transforming into wisdom. At this moment, the guardian beast possessed basic intelligence. It could think and no longer relied on instinct. With intelligence, its combat power might not increase significantly, but it would know when to advance and retreat, becoming more difficult to deal with. Overall, it would become more troublesome. Lin Moyu didn't care about the guardian beast, he kept his eyes fixed on the runes composed of soul fire. His eyes watched the soul fire, and his soul sensed the soul fire. He could clearly feel the mysterious power constantly transmitted from the soul fire. It was this mysterious power that gave the guardian beast intelligence. The source of this mysterious power was the soul fire, but the most important thing was not the soul fire. The most important thing was the mysterious runes composed of soul fire. Just looking at it with the eyes, this rune was vague, and only a rough outline could be seen. To see the true face of the rune, one could only observe it with the soul. Lin Moyu used his other shore realm soul to see the internal structure of the rune. Between the clusters of soul fire, there were countless lines connecting each other, weaving into a mysterious and profound rune. It was this rune that fused the power of the soul fire together, ultimately giving the guardian beast intelligence. The rune was extremely complex. Lin Moyu only looked at it for a while before feeling a deep fatigue from his soul. His soul power was rapidly depleting like crazy. The talent giant tree shook violently, replenishing Lin Moyu's soul power, but it still couldn't keep up with the consumption. Leave. His soul shook violently, and Lin Moyu broke away from this special state. His consciousness returned to reality, and Lin Moyu let out a long breath. This rune was too high level. His soul could only barely observe it, he was still far from understanding it. This rune is not much lower in level than the Great World Rune. What a terrifying thing. All the self-satisfaction Lin Moyu had after his soul reached the other shore realm was extinguished by a rune at this moment. It was this rune that made Lin Moyu realize that he still had a long way to go. The sound of fighting came from his ears, and the guardian beast's roar was deafening. The skeleton god generals were engaged in a great battle with the guardian beast. Just during the short time he observed the rune, the two sides had already exchanged blows. Thousands of skeleton god generals surrounded the guardian beast, wielding boundless sword energy. The sword energy landed on the guardian beast, cutting off its fur and leaving wounds on its body. The guardian beast charged back and forth in the sword energy. Its defense was very strong, and these wounds could only be considered superficial injuries. A large number of skeleton god generals were knocked away. The huge force almost broke the hard bones of the skeleton god generals. The guardian beast spewed out beams of light and flames from its mouth. The light and flames seemed to melt everything, and even the skeleton god generals couldn't withstand it. In the blink of an eye, several skeleton god generals had their bodies half destroyed. Lin Moyu could clearly feel the power of the guardian beast. The guardian beast had already reached the peak of the lesser god sovereign, infinitely close to the god sovereign. Even purely from the perspective of defense, it was not much worse than a god sovereign. In Lin Moyu's view, the guardian beast was enough to rival Dongfangzi. Relying solely on the skeleton god generals to kill it would take a lot of time, and they could only grind it down little by little. If he used the skeleton kings, then naturally there would be no pressure at all, and they could even kill it instantly. Try the Legion Commander. With a thought, Lin Moyu, a Legion Commander, appeared in the air. Dragon roars echoed, and 100,000 bone dragons roared in the air, emitting earth-shattering dragon roars. Each bone dragon was 1,000 meters long, flying in the air like layers of gray-white heavy clouds. The bone dragons exuded the power of a seventh-order god king, which was naturally not enough to deal with the guardian beast. They didn't even have the qualifications to tickle it. However, they were not the main characters of the battle. The real protagonist was the commander of the Bone Dragon Legion. The Legion commander stood in midair, activating his command ability, and the power of 100,000 bone dragons gathered on him. His aura quickly reached its peak, surpassing the skeleton god generals and not inferior to the guardian beast. The appearance of the Legion commander attracted the attention of the guardian beast. A wise light flashed in the guardian beast's eyes, and its huge body arched, adopting a defensive posture. It had not done so before when fighting the skeleton god generals. It could feel that the Legion commander could pose a threat to it. The Legion commander, like a powerful general, transformed into a stream of light and charged towards the guardian beast, his battle blade crashing down. A bright light exploded in the air, gathering the power of the entire legion to deliver a fatal blow. The guardian beast screamed, and a large amount of blood spurted out of its body. A huge hole appeared in its body. This was not a superficial injury, but a real injury to the bones and muscles. The guardian beast screamed incessantly, its voice seeming to communicate with the formation. Large black dots appeared in the sky. A demon squad was swooping in. It had summoned reinforcements, just like the rules said. The guardian beast had the ability to summon reinforcements. Reinforcements would be a big trouble for others, but for Lin Moyu, it was nothing. The skeleton god generals turned around, and the reinforcements summoned by the guardian beast were intercepted halfway. The Legion commander was already waving his battle blade and fighting with the guardian beast. Although the Legion commander was far smaller than the guardian beast in size, he was not weak in combat power. Every slash could cause great damage to the guardian beast. The two fought endlessly, and Lin Moyu was like a bystander, watching the show from the side. All he needed was a handful of melon seeds. The guardian beast's flesh and blood flew everywhere, and its injuries became more and more serious, but the Legion commander could constantly heal himself, remaining unscathed. Even if he was occasionally hit by light and flames, and his skin melted, he could recover in the blink of an eye. A sharp light flashed in the guardian beast's eyes, and it suddenly butted its head, knocking the Legion commander away, and quickly retreated. It's going to escape. Lin Moyu was slightly stunned. He never thought that the guardian beast would actually escape. But on second thought, it was normal. Wasn't this the right choice for an intelligent being? If it couldn't win, wouldn't it be waiting to die if it didn't escape? The Legion commander quickly chased after it, but the guardian beast was very fast, and the Legion commander couldn't catch up for a while. Lin Moyu discovered that the guardian beast wasn't really trying to escape, but was choosing to kite the Legion commander, no longer fighting head-on. During the fight, the guardian beast's wounds were gradually healing. At this rate, it wouldn't be long before its injuries were completely healed. The skeleton god general tried to restrain it, but the guardian beast was too strong, and the skeleton god generals were repeatedly knocked away, failing to restrain it at all. Lin Mo was bored of watching and had a clear understanding of what the guardian beast was. Black shadows flickered, and 9 more legion rulers appeared with their legions. Instantly, tens of millions of skeletal dragons roared in unison, causing the earth to crack. The skeletal dragons almost filled the sky, turning the area gray and white. When the guardian beast saw the 10 legion guardians, it let out a strange cry and turned to leave. This time, it really wanted to escape, or it would surely die. Lin Mo didn't give it a chance, gently tapping his finger. Spell. Skeleton Hell. A flash of gray-white light passed, and the guardian beast was immediately plunged into a gray-white world. Bones littered the ground, and gray flames fell from all directions. The guardian beast was trapped in the world of skeleton hell. It let out uneasy roars, its not so strong intelligence telling it that it was in big trouble. Before Lin Mo could act, and before skeleton hell could truly launch its attack, the guardian beast suddenly began to tremble all over. Its body rapidly disintegrated, collapsing completely in the blink of an eye. Lin Mo was rather puzzled by this, he hadn't even made a move, so how did it die? Chapter 1544. Did he really discover something? Lin Mo was initially puzzled as to why the guardian beast collapsed on its own before he even made a move. Looking at the skeleton hell he had summoned, and then at the formation that was still running in the air, Lin Mo suddenly understood why this had happened. The 4 domain lords were staring at each other, equally baffled, unable to understand what had happened with their knowledge and experience. Yi Qingshan asked with a puzzled expression, "Have any of you understood what happened?" Shui Binger shook her head, "I don't understand. It's too strange. Could there be a problem with the spirit mimicry formation?" Zhu Tian said in a low voice, "There won't be a problem with the spirit mimicry formation. If there really was a problem, it wouldn't only appear here." Wu Da also couldn't understand, "It's really strange. I've lived for so many years, and this is the first time I've seen such a bizarre thing." Suddenly, a massive aura rose, and the 4 immediately felt their breathing stagnate and the pressure increase sharply. Old Ancestor Shu stared intently at Lin Mo, his voice low and heavy, "So that's how it is." The 4 knew that Old Ancestor Shu must have seen something, and Shui Binger couldn't help but ask, "Sir, have you seen something?" Old Ancestor Shu's voice exuded a heavy pressure, "You don't need to know." A single sentence blocked their thoughts, and they couldn't ask any further questions. Shui Binger awkwardly closed her mouth, and the 4 looked at each other, knowing that it was because their level and strength were insufficient. Lin Mo understood what was happening. The guardian beast was not born out of thin air but was a product of the formation gathering a large amount of law and energy, ultimately simulating it. In other words, without the support of the formation, the guardian beast could not exist. When he used skeleton hell, the guardian beast was equivalent to entering another world, and its connection with the formation was completely severed. Without the support of the formation and losing its source of power, the guardian beast collapsed on the spot without Lin Mo even needing to act. From this, Lin Mo saw the shortcomings of this formation. As long as it was isolated by another space, the existence simulated by the formation, no matter how strong, would collapse without being attacked. This is a big problem. If it is not improved, the formation will be greatly limited. The current formation is far from perfect, and there are still many problems that need to be improved. It seems that we are being used as experimental subjects to test the actual combat capabilities of the formation. Lin Mo not only understood the cause and effect of the guardian beast's disappearance but also saw through the thoughts of those big figures. Using the 4-star domain competition to test the formation was indeed a good method. Now one of the problems has been found, and it is not a small problem. If this problem is not solved, the formation cannot be truly put into actual combat. There are too many means to isolate space. Skeleton hell was withdrawn, and the formation seemed to sense that the guardian beast had been eliminated, and a beam of light fell from the sky, shining on the stone tablet. A token fell from the light, and Lin Mo reached out to take it. With the token in hand, he could now leave the arena and advance to the next stage. However, he was not in a hurry to go, he wanted to take another look at the formation, look at the soul fire. Do some more experiments to verify his guesses. Lin Mo didn't go anywhere and began to wait quietly, waiting for the next enemy to appear. At the same time, the skeleton god generals continued to search for stone tablets outside. Lin Mo needed to fight more guardian beasts to further verify his guesses. Lin Mo's behavior attracted the attention of several domain lords. Compared to the sudden death of the guardian beast just now, they couldn't understand Lin Mo's behavior even more. Wu Da, he got the token, why doesn't he leave yet? Yi Qingshan, does he want to sell his token like he did the previous 2 times? Bai Binger, no, I don't think so, he seems to be waiting for something. The 3 of them looked at Zhu Tian at the same time. Zhu Tian was inscrutable and said nothing. No one could see what Zhu Tian was thinking. Old Ancestor Shu's eyes flashed with a sharp light, he had somewhat guessed Lin Mo's thoughts, this kid, could he really have discovered? Zhuang Bai and the 5 worked together to eliminate their enemies. Shui Zealand's little red sprite lived up to expectations and found 3 stone tablets. They chose the nearest stone tablet and rushed over immediately after the battle ended. In this battle, Shui Xing played a huge role. He was like Shui Zilan's shadow, always silent. His presence was extremely weak, and if he didn't take the initiative to speak, even Zhuangbai and others would ignore him. But in battle, Shui Xing displayed amazing healing skills. The law he controlled was called the Spring Water Law, which could rejuvenate all things and contained extremely strong vitality. In addition to being strong in defense, it was also very powerful for recovery and treatment. They suffered minor injuries in the battle, but they were easily healed by Shui Xing, thus ensuring a strong ability to continue fighting. It also allowed them not to rest and go directly to the stone tablet after the battle. After the 5 arrived at the stone tablet, they made some adjustments. Chu Shang patted Shui Xing on the shoulder. "Brother Shui Xing, your healing skills are really amazing. Back then, if there had been such a healer on the battlefield, we would have been much safer." Shui Xing seemed to dislike Chu Shang patting him on the shoulder, took 2 steps back, and didn't speak. Chu Shang said strangely, "Diaresis open corner bracket brother Shui Xing, don't be so shy, why don't you say anything?" Shui Zilan's voice was clear. "Shui Xing is my junior sister, she doesn't like to talk." Chu Shang, who was about to raise his hand, stopped in midair. Zhuangbai, who was next to him, couldn't help but laugh. Qing Fei's pretty face was also flushed red, looking like she wanted to laugh but couldn't. Shui Xing was always shrouded in a layer of water mist, unable to see her figure or appearance. She spoke very little, and her voice was obviously changed by the water mist, making it impossible to tell her gender. Chu Shang scratched his head a little embarrassed. "This. Sister Shui Xing, I'm really sorry. I'm just a rough guy, don't mind." Shui Xing still didn't say anything, but stood behind Shui Zilan. After the 5 made some adjustments, Zhuangbai activated the stone tablet. The formation activated, and immense energy descended from the sky, causing the 5 individuals' expressions to change drastically. They realized that the guardian beast was powerful. Moreover, the guardian beast could summon other enemies, making it extremely difficult to deal with. Qing Fei tightly gripped her long sword and said in a low voice, "Let's proceed as we discussed. If the guardian beast summons enemies, I'll hold them off while you eliminate them as quickly as possible." Before starting, the 5 had already discussed how to handle various situations. They had discussed almost all possible scenarios, so unexpected events were unlikely to occur. A lion-tiger-like guardian beast took shape in the air, its aura at the peak of Lesser God Venerate level, accompanied by a powerful pressure, reverberating throughout the heavens and earth. A great battle was about to break out. On the other side, Lin Moyu carefully observed the formation. He noticed that the originally calm formation suddenly began to operate faster. The profound runes behind the formation also began to vibrate. At this moment, Lin Moyu's soul power had fully recovered, and his soul opened its eyes again, observing the various changes in the runes. To understand this rune, he needed to observe it repeatedly. Although the observation process was difficult, what did difficulty matter? Hadn't he always overcome such challenges? Chapter 1545, Conducting Experiments. More like teasing the guardian beast. Until his soul power was almost exhausted, Lin Moyu's consciousness returned to reality. After this observation, he had gained some insights, not much, but better than nothing. Lin Moyu was well aware that some gains occurred subtly. What he needed was accumulation, not to be impatient. He already knew that even if others triggered the stone tablet, he could still observe the changes in the runes. He was no longer in a hurry to leave. Compared to the soul rune, there was no need to rush into the next stage. Soon, the formation began to operate again. Dongfangzi activated the stone tablet, summoning the guardian beast. Lin Moyu once again observed the operational changes of the runes. Each observation brought new gains, and a sense of understanding grew within him. However, this understanding was still vague and needed more accumulation to potentially transform into results. After Dongfangzi, Wei Bowen also found a stone tablet and summoned a guardian beast. Qing Fei and the others were engaged in a fierce battle, as the guardian beast's power exceeded everyone's expectations. With combat power at the peak of Lesser God Venerate, and defense comparable to a God Venerate, they were having a hard time fighting. Shui Zilan's attack power was not outstanding, and even her 3 Lesser God Venerate puppets could not inflict enough damage on the guardian beast. Shui Xing was even worse, as she was more adept at defense than Shui Zilan, and her attack power was completely insufficient, ranking near the bottom among Lesser God Venerates. Only Qing Fei, Zhuang Bai, and Chu Shang could inflict enough damage on the guardian beast. Among them, Qing Fei was the main force. Qing Fei transformed into an azure dragon, engaging in a fierce battle with the guardian beast. Zhuang Bai fully cooperated with Qing Fei, and after several battles, their teamwork had become quite seamless. Chu Shang fought alone, wielding a battle blade larger than himself, attracting the guardian beast's attention. The battle continued for a long time, and the guardian beast finally roared, summoning reinforcements. Shui Zilan and Shui Xing were already prepared, intercepting the reinforcements halfway. The reinforcements, like the periodically appearing enemies, were always in groups of 500. The enemies formed battle formations, making it difficult for Shui Zilan and Shui Xing to fight. Qing Fei shouted, "You guys go help Zilan, I'll hold it off here." Chu Shang went to help Shui Zilan without hesitation, but Zhuang Bai didn't move. Qing Fei asked, "Why aren't you going?" Zhuang Bai had his own reasons. The guardian beast's recovery speed is very fast, one person alone isn't enough. Chu Shang has already gone to Zilan's side, she'll be fine, don't worry. Qing Fei naturally knew this. Alright, then let's kill the guardian beast as soon as possible. The guardian beast was the source of everything, and only by solving the guardian beast could they end this battle. They needed to be faster, because if they dragged on, when the time came and the next wave of enemies appeared, the difficulty would only increase. They also had a worry in their hearts. They simply didn't know how many times the guardian beast would summon reinforcements. If it could summon them again and again, and the reinforcements could overlap with the timed enemies, then they wouldn't even need to fight, it would be better to give up directly. On the other side, Dongfang Zi was also caught in a bitter battle. Dongfang Zi didn't expect the guardian beast to be so strong, especially when reinforcements appeared, he became even more passive. Fortunately, there were two other people from the Divine City who could block the reinforcements for him, otherwise he would have given up long ago. Similarly, Wei Bowen's situation wasn't much better, and he was under great pressure. The difficulty of the first layer's test was something they had never experienced before, and even if they gave it their all, they could still be eliminated. Lin Moyu was waiting quietly, waiting for the second wave of enemies to arrive. After 59 minutes, the second wave of enemies finally arrived. This time, Lin Moyu didn't let the skeleton divine general take action, he pointed his finger at the incoming enemies. The bone hell instantly unfolded, enveloping half of the enemies. The enemies enveloped by the bone hell were instantly reduced to ashes, disappearing without a trace. They died in the same way as the guardian beast, their bodies collapsing, turning into dust, and then completely dissipating, leaving not even a speck behind. Because they were originally composed of pure energy, without any real matter, they naturally wouldn't leave anything behind. The enemies that were not enveloped by the bone hell remained intact. They had no intelligence and would only rush towards Lin Moyu according to the will given by the formation. Lin Moyu pointed again, and the bone hell changed its location, enveloping them. After being enveloped by the bone hell, they remained silent for half a second, motionless, and then collapsed. The two situations were exactly the same. Lin Moyu was now completely certain that it was because the bone hell isolated the space, causing them to lose contact with the formation, thus leading to their collapse. He had already found the flaws in the Grand Formation. According to the current situation, the Grand Formation was far from ready to be put into use. The skeleton divine general found the second stone tablet, and Lin Moyu activated the stone tablet again, starting to experiment with the guardian beast. As the guardian beast formed, Lin Moyu continued to observe the soul fire rune. This time, he made a new discovery. He noticed that the soul fire rune seemed to contain the power of faith. The power of faith was hidden very deeply, and he hadn't noticed it during the previous observations. After regaining his senses, he tried the bone hell again, but instead of enveloping and devouring the entire guardian beast, he only devoured half of it. Half of the guardian beast's body instantly collapsed, and the intelligent guardian beast immediately screamed. It has intelligence, and it seems to have pain. Having intelligence is a good thing, but at the warrior level, having pain will affect combat power. The guardian beast, with only half of its body remaining, roared constantly, summoning reinforcements. Lin Moyu discovered that when it summoned reinforcements, it would resonate with the Grand Formation. It was this resonance that allowed the Grand Formation to create reinforcements. Lin Moyu then used the reinforcements for experiments, dissecting and analyzing them. Lin Mo Yu often did this kind of thing, and he was familiar with it. The guardian beast's half-body gradually recovered, and after it recovered, Lin Mo Yu used the bone hell again to severely injure it. He wanted to see if the guardian beast would summon reinforcements a second time. The previous time he killed too quickly, this time he would kill slowly. Otherwise, it would take nearly an hour for a wave of enemies to come, and the experiment would be too slow. Sure enough, as he expected, the guardian beast really summoned reinforcements again after half an hour. Half an hour per wave. Too slow. Lin Mo was not satisfied with this result. With a thought, Lin Mo immediately moved away, then withdrew all summons. The guardian beast suddenly lost its target. After waiting for several minutes, the guardian beast returned to the stone tablet, then disappeared. Lin Mo, from a great distance, analyzed the situation through the operation of the formation and the changes in the soulfire runes. Just as I thought, it can still go back. Then Lin Mo returned again, activated the stone tablet, triggered the formation's mechanism again, and summoned the guardian beast. After the stone tablet was activated, Lin Mo quickly moved away, hiding without a trace. The guardian beast did not stop being summoned because he left, appearing as always. Lin Mo, in the distance, continued to observe the changes in the soulfire runes. After the guardian beast appeared, it found no enemies. After waiting for 10 minutes, it disappeared again. Then Lin Mo reappeared next to the stone tablet, continuing the previous operation. Repeatedly summoning, repeatedly observing, his understanding of the soulfire runes became more profound. Unexplainably, Lin Mo felt a sense of familiarity, as if he had seen this rune somewhere before. Chapter 1546. You're actually using the Great Formation as an experiment. While Lin Mo was tirelessly teasing the stone tablet and the guardian beast, the other groups were engaged in fierce battles. Qing Fei and Zhuang Bai tried their best to besiege and kill the guardian beast, but progress was very slow. Shui Zilan and Chu Shang, along with Shui Xing and the others, dealt with the reinforcements that arrived. The battle had been going on for a long time, during which another batch of fixed enemies appeared, and they were also stopped by the three of them. No matter which side, the battle was very intense, without a moment's pause. Although the process was arduous, they at least still had the upper hand. Dongfang Zi and Wei Bowen's situation was no better, even more difficult than Qing Fei and the others. Relying on their powerful strength, the two fought the guardian beast one-on-one, only barely gaining the upper hand. The two from the White Tiger Star region had basically given up. They found a stone tablet, activated it, and then found that they were no match for the guardian beast. They also knew that they should have been eliminated in the second level. Even if they bought a token from Lin Mo and barely reached the first level, they would still inevitably be eliminated. In the final analysis, it was because of insufficient strength. Even if they used opportunistic methods to reach the first level, it was useless. Except for Lin Mo, no matter which group, they fought extremely hard to advance to the first level. The four domain lords kept rolling their eyes. Bai Binger watched as her side was about to be eliminated, and then looked at Lin Mo repeatedly teasing the stone tablet and the guardian beast, her silver teeth almost breaking. What is this kid doing? Yi Qingshan shook his head, can't understand it, can't understand it. Wu Da also imitated Yi Qingshan's appearance, can't understand it, can't understand it. The three of them unanimously focused their attention on Zhu Tian again. Zhu Tian shook his head and said, don't look at me, I don't know what he's doing either, maybe he just thinks it's fun. Thinks it's fun? Isn't this explanation a bit far-fetched? Among the five, only old ancestor Shu could understand what Lin Mo was doing. At this moment, his expression was calm, but his heart was shocked and also a little bit amused. This was a very peculiar emotion. Old ancestor Shu couldn't remember how many years he hadn't experienced such emotional fluctuations. He really understood it. This guy is really a genius, he can actually understand it. He clearly wanted to use them to experiment with the imitation spirit Great Formation, but he turned around and used the imitation spirit Great Formation as an experiment. For a time, old ancestor Shu didn't know what words to use to describe Lin Mo. In the end, he summed it up in 2 words, freak. Inside the first level arena, another batch of enemies appeared. This batch of enemies was 50 minutes apart from the previous batch. This was the 10th batch of enemies. Each batch of enemies would fixedly shorten the time by 1 minute. If calculated, a total of 60 batches of enemies would appear in the first level arena. The later it got, the shorter the time interval, and the higher the difficulty would be. Qing Fei and the others had already begun to fight the second guardian beast. There were 5 of them, and they needed to kill 5 guardian beasts to obtain 5 tokens. This was their agreement: either they win together or they lose together. No one would take a step first. Qing Fei attacked the guardian beast while saying, "We don't have much time left. I've calculated that with our combat power, if the enemies reach the last 20 batches, we will only be struggling to cope." Zhuang Bai said in a deep voice, "My calculations are similar. We still have a chance. The worst result is that we can get 4 tokens. Then I'll stay behind and you go to the next stage." Qing Fei was stunned for half a second, looking at Zhuang Bai. Zhuang Bai smiled, revealing his white teeth, looking very handsome. Qing Fei withdrew her gaze, said nothing, but her offensive became even more fierce. At this moment, they suddenly received a message. Contestant number 3 has advanced. Chu Shang shouted loudly, "Dongfangzi has advanced." Shui Zilan happened to be next to him, frowning and saying, "Speak softly, my ears hurt." It's impossible to think that a small divine venerable would say their ears hurt. However, Chu Shang instinctively responded, okay, I'll be quieter." Shui Zilan's crisp voice came out, "There are 3 people in Dongfangzi's group. Now only Dongfangzi has advanced. He may have given up on the other 2. When Shui Zilan used the little red sprite to find the stone tablet, she also investigated the movements of the other people. Chu Shang snorted with disdain, giving up on his teammates. This guy is really a scumbag. Shui Zilan retorted, "It's not necessarily giving up on his teammates, it may be a decision that several people have discussed. But this is their internal affair, we don't need to care." Chu Shang echoed, "Zilan is right, we just need to take care of ourselves." Chu Shang fully displayed his thick-skinned personality. Basically, whatever Shui Zilan said was what he said. However, what Shui Zilan said was indeed correct. Dongfangzi had indeed discussed it with others. All 3 of them came from Divine City. Among them, Dongfangzi was the strongest, but the 2 of them did not follow his lead. They just came from Divine City together, so they naturally came together. The 3 can be said to be in a cooperative relationship. Now it was obvious that the 3 of them were running out of time, so Dongfangzi made a suggestion. He promised to give each of the 250 points of Divine City merit, allowing him to use the token to advance first. In this way, the 2 had actually given up on the competition. In fact, they also understood that there was not enough time. At most, they would get another token. Dongfangzi would definitely occupy 1 spot. Who would the other spot go to? Would the 2 have to compete for it? The strength of the 2 was not much different, and there was a high probability that there would be no result. So, faced with the temptation of 50 Divine City merit, the 2 chose to accept. Qing Fei and the others continued to hunt the guardian beast. Their cooperation became more and more tacit, and their efficiency improved instead. With Shui Xing's healing techniques as logistics, the few people's continued combat ability was very strong, and their combat power did not slow down at all. When the 30th batch of fixed enemies appeared, they had just completed the hunting of the 4th guardian beast, and they were only 1 token away from 5 tokens. At this time, the Human Emperor Network appeared again to remind. Open black lens bracket contestant number 6 has advanced. Close black lens bracket. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Zhuang Bai said, Wei Bowen has also advanced. A red light flashed in the air, and the little red sprite returned, bringing the latest information. Shui Zilan said, Wei Bowen gave up on another and advanced directly. Bai Xiao and Hu Tian from the White Tiger Star region have given up. Chu Shang asked, what about junior brother Lin? They hadn't received any news from Lin Moyu for so long, and Lin Moyu hadn't advanced. He was a little worried that something might have happened. In fact, everyone knew that with Lin Moyu's strength, accidents were unlikely. Shui Zilan shook her head. Junior brother Lin should be fine, but Xiao Hong is afraid of his skeletons and didn't dare to get close. But Xiao Hong said that junior brother Lin seems to have been in one place for a long time without moving. Chu Shang scratched his head, wondering what Lin Moyu was doing. Zhuang Bai said, perhaps junior brother Lin has something of his own to do. Let's look for the last token first. Don't worry about junior brother Lin, he'll be fine. Shui Zilan nodded. Follow me. They had already located the last steal and immediately rushed over. This steel was far away, and by the time they arrived, the 33rd batch of enemies had already appeared. At this time, the interval between each batch of enemies had been shortened to 26 minutes, and the frequency was getting higher and higher. At their speed of killing the guardian beasts, they would have to face at least 6 batches of fixed enemies, while also facing the reinforcements summoned by the guardian beasts. The pressure was enormous. Qing Fei took a deep breath. Let's begin. Zhuang Bai nodded, activated the steel, and the great battle began. Gone. Chapter 1547. You must listen to me today. This battle was extremely fierce. Qing Fei and Zhuang Bai went all out, using every means at their disposal, including their trump cards. With the previous battle experience, the guardian beast retreated steadily. The guardian beast summoned reinforcements, which were all blocked by Chu Shang and the other two. The 5 people were divided into 2 groups, cooperating extremely well. Seeing that victory was in sight, Qing Fei's solemn expression gradually relaxed. Zhuang Bai smiled and said, "We should be able to make it in time." Qing Fei nodded, agreeing with Zhuang Bai's words. Suddenly, a muffled groan sounded, followed by Shui Zilan's angry shout, "Despicable!" Qing Fei and Zhuang Bai immediately realized that something was wrong. Someone was actually launching a sneak attack. The number 7 and number 12 contestants from Divine City had arrived here at some point and suddenly launched a sneak attack on Chu Shang. Although they didn't seriously injure Chu Shang, they more or less weakened his combat power. Originally, the pressure of the 3 of them working together to block the reinforcements was already not small. Now that they were being attacked, the pressure suddenly increased. Shui Zilan reacted extremely quickly, and together with Shui Xing, they took over the vacancy left by Chu Shang. At the same time, Shui Xing quickly cast spells to heal Chu Shang. Chu Shang stabilized his body and flew back, roaring at the 2, "What are you 2 trying to do?" The 2 didn't say anything. Shui Zilan said, "They're here to make trouble." Chu Shang wasn't stupid, and grinned, "You 2 want to drag us down with you, right?" One of them whispered, "Sorry, fellow disciples, we've offended you." They had no hope. Once eliminated, their ranking wouldn't be too good. So they simply dragged a few people down with them. If they were going to be eliminated, they would be eliminated together. That way, their ranking might look a little better. Anyway, the rules didn't allow it. Qing Fei glanced at Zhuang Bai, and found that Zhuang Bai was also looking at her. They exchanged glances and quickly understood each other's meaning. The original situation was already very tricky, and now with these 2 people harassing and sneak attacking, it was impossible to get the last token. Neither Qing Fei nor Zhuang Bai were hesitant people, and they made a decision immediately. Zhuang Bai shouted, "Do it!" Qing Fei turned around, her sword transforming into a dragon, and charged towards the 2 from Divine City. Zhuang Bai also ignored the guardian beast and attacked the 2. Qing Fei's law domain instantly enveloped the 2, and a green dragon descended from the sky, roaring angrily, and biting towards the 2. After the green dragon, was Qing Fei's extremely sharp sword force, carrying boundless killing intent. The 2 were shocked and didn't dare to fight Qing Fei at all, retreating quickly. Zhuang Bai was faster than them, and had already arrived on the route where the 2 were retreating, his long sword spanning the sky. Technique. Infinite sword rain. Flying swords rained down, enveloping the 2. The sharp swords shattered the 2's defenses, and Qing Fei had already arrived, her killing intent filling the sky. The 2 were extremely panicked, and didn't expect that they had stirred up a hornet's nest. One of them took out a shield and activated it on the spot. 8 shields appeared out of thin air, blocking Qing Fei's attack. The green dragon crashed into the shield, and in a thunderous roar, the shield shattered. The 2 were blown away in screams. "You 2 despicable and shameless bastards, die!" In the roar, Chu Shang responded and charged forward. He waved his war blade, and the war blade instantly transformed into a giant of 10,000 meters, covering the sky and earth as it slashed down. The 2 had been injured by Qing Fei's sword and were already terrified. At this time, they didn't dare to take Chu Shang's attack again. One of them took out something similar to a wooden board. The wooden board instantly became fierce, and actually turned into a coffin, putting the 2 of them inside. The coffin turned into a stream of light and flew away. "Don't even think about escaping." Chu Shang changed his sword stance, quickly accelerated, and just happened to slash at the coffin. The coffin rumbled, and dense cracks appeared on it, but it still escaped, disappearing in the blink of an eye. A red light flashed in the air, and Shui Zilan, directing Xiao Hong, had already chased after them, and asked, "Do you want to chase them? I've locked onto them." Qing Fei shook her head. "There's no point in chasing them." As she spoke, she waved her long sword, and a green dragon flew out. The green dragon turned into a ball of light, protecting everyone. The ball of light wasn't strong, but it could block for a few seconds. Zhuangbai also responded, "Don't chase them, let's go back to the place of the previous steal." Chu Shang whispered, "What about here? There's still one token missing." Zhuangbai said, "It's too late here, we can only give up." After such a disturbance just now, although it was only 2 or 3 minutes, the guardian beast's injuries had recovered a lot in these 2 or 3 minutes. Back and forth, they would have to waste at least half an hour. In half an hour, at least 2 more batches of fixed enemies would appear, and the guardian beast would summon another batch of reinforcements. Their speed of eliminating enemies couldn't keep up with the speed at which enemies appeared, so it was indeed useless. Zhuangbai was very decisive. "Do as we discussed." Qing Fei knew what Zhuangbai meant, and glared, "I didn't agree." Zhuangbai shook his head. "You must listen to me today, let's go." After saying that, Zhuangbai flew out of the ball of light and headed towards the distance. Chu Shang was still unclear about what the two were talking about, but trusting Zhuangbai, he immediately followed, not forgetting to tell the others, "Hurry and follow." Qing Fei stamped her foot, seemingly a bit helpless, and could only follow. Shui Zilan and Shui Xing also immediately followed. The guardian beast chased for a while before returning to its stone tablet, disappearing after waiting for 10 minutes. Zhuangbai led everyone back to a previous stone tablet, throwing the corresponding token to Chu Shang, "You're first." Chu Shang instinctively caught the token, but didn't activate it immediately, asking, "What are you going to do?" Zhuangbai didn't explain at all, shouting, "Don't waste time, hurry up." Chu Shang once again chose to believe Zhuangbai, activating the token and the stone tablet. The next second, he was sent away by the Great Formation. Open black lens bracket contestant No 5 has advanced. Close black lens bracket. Seeing Chu Shang advance, Zhuangbai threw another token to Shui Xing, quickly saying, "You're next." As he said this, he flew towards another stone tablet without another word. Everyone already knew what Zhuangbai was going to do. There were only 4 tokens for the 5 of them. Inevitably, one person had to stay behind and be eliminated. Without a doubt, Zhuangbai chose to be eliminated, to help them succeed. Qing Fei chased after Zhuangbai, "Why not try again?" Zhuangbai chuckled, "No need to try, there's no chance. Forcing it will only get everyone eliminated. If it weren't for those 2 guys from Divine City, they could have indeed obtained the 5th token. But because of the sneak attack by the 2 from Divine City, they wasted at least half an hour. Half an hour decided the outcome. Qing Fei knew Zhuangbai was right, and for a moment didn't know what to say. Zhuangbai was very calm. In the next stage, compete well and try to get second place. The top spot belonged to Lin Mo Yu, and no one could compete with him. Being able to compete for second place was already the best outcome. Qing Fei looked deeply at Zhuangbai, still saying nothing. Enemies appeared ahead again. They had encountered 2 groups of enemies while rushing towards the stone tablet. The frequency of enemies appearing was increasing, and their speed was getting faster. Qing Fei felt angry, letting out a delicate shout, transforming into a azure dragon and flying out with a dragon's roar. She forcefully smashed out a path. Zhuangbai let her vent. Since things were already like this, he would let nature take its course. They returned to where the stone tablet was, along the path they had come. The second one sent away was Shui Xing, the third was Shui Zilan. Leaving Zhuangbai and Qing Fei, they rushed to the last stone tablet. At this moment, behind the 2 of them were densely packed thousands of enemies. Time was limited. Zhuangbai said to Qing Fei quickly and forcefully, "Good luck." Qing Fei seemed a little hesitant, pausing for a second before speaking, "Let's have a drink together after the competition." Qing Fei rarely showed such a girlish side at this moment. Zhuangbai's smile was as bright as the sun. "Okay, I'll find you then." Chapter 1548. I lose if I make a move. Open black lens bracket contestant number 2 has advanced. Close black lens bracket. As he said at the beginning, Zhuangbai fulfilled his promise. If there were only 4 tokens, he would stay behind. Looking at the enemies already in front of him, Zhuangbai knew that his order of elimination was next. But even if he was eliminated, there were still different levels. Being eliminated sooner and being eliminated later were also different. Zhuangbai moved away again, he had to hold on until the end. The frequency of enemies appearing was getting higher and higher, wave after wave. After several hours, a wave appeared every 10 minutes. The 2 people in the White Tiger Starfield were finally eliminated, followed by the contestants from the War God Temple. The remaining 2 people in Divine City were also eliminated after persisting for a while. Now, in the arena, there was Lin Moyu, who was not moving, and Zhuangbai, who was flying around the world. Behind Zhuangbai were densely packed enemies, all of them from the Demon race and the 3 Silver race. He was lucky that he didn't run into the territory of the Golden Eagle race. Otherwise, once he was caught up by the Golden Eagle race, there would be no escape. The formation would also simulate the speed of the Golden Eagle race, and Zhuangbai couldn't escape at all. While Zhuangbai was running, he suddenly saw a white light, and then he saw the pure white skeleton god general. It's junior brother Lin. He then remembered that Lin Moyu had not left all along. He didn't expect that he had stumbled upon Lin Moyu by mistake. Zhuangbai immediately flew in the direction of the skeleton god general. The skeleton god generals were densely packed, forming a protective circle in the air. When Zhuangbai arrived, the skeleton god generals did not stop him, but instead made way for a passage, signaling him to enter. Zhuangbai accelerated and flew in as if grabbing a life-saving straw. He rushed into the passage made by the skeleton god generals, and a pure white light lit up behind him. The majestic sword energy swept across the heavens and the earth, and the skeleton god generals attacked the enemies behind him. Zhuangbai felt relieved. Although there were many enemies, they were nothing compared to Lin Moyu's skeleton god generals. Zhuangbai couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. A dozen seconds later, he saw Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu was looking up at the sky, seemingly looking at something. Zhuangbai came to Lin Moyu's front. "Junior brother Lin, what are you doing?" Lin Moyu kept his posture unchanged, and said softly, looking at a rune. Rune. Zhuangbai also looked up at the sky, but apart from the glittering formation, where was the rune? It wasn't that there were no runes. There were many runes in the formation, appearing and disappearing from time to time. However, Zhuangbai didn't know which rune Lin Moyu was looking at. Lin Moyu retracted his gaze after watching for a while, and turned to look at Zhuangbai. "Senior brother Zhuang, why did you stay behind alone?" Zhuangbai smiled bitterly. "There wasn't enough time. There was still one token missing, so I let them go first." Lin Moyu nodded. Senior brother Zhuang has a broad mind. Giving up his own opportunity to let others advance, Zhuangbai's mind and pattern were indeed not comparable to ordinary people. As he spoke, he threw a token to Zhuangbai. "I will have the skeleton god general lead the way for senior brother Zhuang." Zhuangbai was stunned. "What about you then?" Lin Moyu smiled. "I can get it whenever I want. I want to look at the runes for a while longer. I will chat later." As he spoke, Lin Moyu turned into a stream of light and flew away. He was going to tease the stone tablet again. Zhuangbai really didn't know what Lin Moyu was doing, he only felt that Lin Moyu's behavior was a bit unfathomable. Hundreds of skeleton god generals formed a small team and took Zhuangbai to where the stone tablet was. This was the token Lin Moyu obtained when he killed the first guardian beast. Coming to the first floor, Lin Moyu had only killed one guardian beast before and after. In other words, Lin Moyu no longer had any tokens in his hand now. Open black lens bracket. Contestant number 3 has advanced close black lens bracket. The information of Zhuangbai's advancement came, and Lin Moyu was the only one left on the first floor. Lin Moyu was still teasing the guardian beast, observing the soul fire rune again and again. The 4 domain lords were completely speechless, unable to understand what Lin Moyu was doing. Only Old Ancestor Shu could understand Lin Moyu's actions. Old Ancestor Shu whispered, "He really wants to drag it out to the last moment, not wasting a single bit." In another space within the arena, there was a strong fluctuation of life energy. Coming here, all injuries would be quickly healed. All consumption would be replenished. This place possessed magical power. Even if one was exhausted before, coming here would restore them to their peak in just a few minutes. This was the world belonging to the promoted, a place for them to rest. Dongfang Zi was the first to arrive, followed by Wei Bowen. Later, Chu Shang and others appeared one by one. Chu Shang and Qing Fei didn't look good because Zhuangbai had been eliminated. Shui Zilan sighed softly. "Senior brother Zhuang is truly a good person." Qing Fei also said, "Senior brother Zhuang's magnanimity is unmatched." Chu Shang asked, Did Lao Zhuang say anything later? Qing Fei shook her head. He didn't say anything. She said to herself, I must get second place. Before, it was for herself, but now it was also for Zhuang Bai. Time passed slowly. Chu Shang was a little strange, judging by the time. Junior brother Lin should have arrived, right? Dong Fangzi chuckled beside him, perhaps he won't be able to come. Chu Shang glared at him, nothing good ever comes out of your mouth. If you can't say anything nice, then shut up. Dong Fangzi's expression changed drastically. When had he ever been scolded like this? How dare you scold me? He clenched his fists, emitting bursts of booming sounds. Chu Shang puffed out his chest, raised his head high, and looked at Dong Fangzi with his nostrils. Want to fight? Come on, I'll admit defeat if I even flinch. Fighting here would result in disqualification. Dong Fangzi naturally understood this, but Chu Shang's appearance was just too irritating. Dong Fangzi gritted his teeth. You think I wouldn't dare? Chu Shang laughed loudly. I bet you wouldn't dare. You people from God City are just despicable, cowardly, and shameless. Besides doing sneaky things, what else can you do? If you want to fight, then do it quickly. If you don't dare, then go back and stay there. Brush your teeth clean, and don't bark there. Dong Fangzi was about to explode with anger. His hair stood on end, and his chest heaved violently. Chu Shang just stood there, tall and strong, looking at Dong Fangzi with his nostrils. 430. Shui Zilan turned her head away, not looking at Chu Shang. He was being too irritating. Even Shui Zilan wanted to rush up and punch him. However, she also knew that Chu Shang was doing it on purpose. He was deliberately provoking Dong Fangzi, trying to get him to attack him. As long as Dong Fangzi attacked, he would be disqualified. Dong Fangzi and Chu Shang were deadlocked for a while, but in the end, he didn't attack and retreated to the side. Chu Shang snorted, cowardly fool. After returning, Chu Shang whispered, that guy didn't fall for it. Shui Zilan rolled her eyes at him. Although he has a bad temper, he's still a little godly paragon, not a fool. How could he be so easily fooled? Chu Shang sighed, what a pity. At this moment, the space fluctuated slightly, and a figure appeared. The few people turned their heads to look, and when they saw that the person who came was actually Zhuang Bai, joy appeared in their eyes. Qing Fei revealed a beautiful smile. Zhuang Bai had actually advanced. Chu Shang laughed heartily. Good, Lao Zhuang, you actually had something up your sleeve. Qing Fei was also very curious. Senior brother Zhuang, how did you advance? Zhuang Bai said, I accidentally ran into junior brother Lin. Junior brother Lin gave me a token. So that's how it was. That made sense. Chu Shang asked with doubt, where's junior brother Lin? Zhuang Bai said, junior brother Lin said he'll come later. He seems to be looking at a rune. Rune. Everyone was very puzzled. But that wasn't important. What was important was that Zhuang Bai had successfully advanced. Chu Shang was very happy, and the smile on Qing Fei's face was even brighter than usual. She was in a great mood. Chapter 1549. Want to fight? I'll keep you company to the end. The last batch of enemies appeared. At the same time, Lin Moyu also received the final reminder. The first stage arena will be closed in 10 minutes. Those who fail to activate the stone tablet after 10 minutes will be eliminated. This reminder was actually just for Lin Moyu alone. He was the only one left in the first layer now. After receiving the information, Lin Moyu said to himself, it's about time to leave. He looked at the soulfire rune over and over again, and he had indeed seen enough. He had comprehended almost everything that could be comprehended. Although it was still not systematic, there were always some gains. If he wanted to comprehend it further, he would also need to match his own strength and realm. The level of the soulfire rune was very high. Among all the runes Lin Moyu had seen, only a few could compare to it. Lin Moyu's knowledge was not bad. He had seen many extremely high-level runes in his cultivation so far. One was the origin rune, which had now become his 2 origin spells. Needless to say, the level of the origin rune was very high, coming from the origin bird. The second was when the spell was sublimated, he saw the Great World Rune through the inexplicable black hole. Outside the Great World Rune, there were also some special runes. The levels of these runes were also very high. According to Lin Moyu's understanding, they were very likely to represent the first echelon of laws. Because below them, Lin Moyu had also seen a large number of runes, and all of those runes without exception represented a certain law. Finally, there was the Great World Rune. That was the supreme existence of the entire great world, the pursuit of countless supreme powerhouses. If they wanted to reach the true peak of the great world, they had to come into contact with the great world rune, understand it, and master it. There was even a legend that whoever could control the great world rune could become the master of the great world. However, for hundreds of millions of years, no one had ever been able to do it. The soulfire rune in front of him, although it was impossible to judge its exact level, Lin Moyu had a feeling that its level might be second only to the great world rune. It would not be weaker than the origin rune or the first echelon of law runes. If he wanted to study it thoroughly, it would take years of time, and it could not be successful overnight. At the same time, during the process of studying the soulfire rune, what surprised Lin Moyu the most was that a strange sense of familiarity was growing. He seemed to have seen the soulfire rune somewhere. But this sense of familiarity was so ethereal and could not grasp its root. Lin Moyu could only suppress this thought in his heart. Now there were still 10 minutes left, and Lin Moyu did not delay any longer. He teased the stone tablet one last time and summoned the guardian beast. He observed the soulfire rune one last time. Several more minutes passed, and the guardian beast was already fighting with the skeleton god generals. Lin Moyu pointed casually, and the bone hell appeared, enveloping the guardian beast. The guardian beast collapsed in an instant, followed by a beam of light falling from the formation, and a token emerged from the light. Lin Mo activated the token and disappeared instantly. Contestant number 1 has advanced. The people in the resting space suddenly received this message collectively. The voice of the Human Emperor Network was still clearly audible, reaching directly into their souls. Dongfang Zi's eyes flashed with a sharp light. As expected, it has come after all. Wei Bowen snorted softly, what a pity. As for what he was regretting, only he himself knew. Both of them were hoping that Lin Mo would stumble, but unfortunately, things didn't go as they wished, and reality was always crueler than imagination. Lin Mo's arrival also meant that the first place no longer belonged to them. I knew it, how could the mere first level stop junior brother Lin? Chu Shang's loud voice kept ringing out. Lin Mo looked around and knew that he was in a unique space filled with rich life laws. He didn't find it strange. The Great Formation could even create living beings, so a mere independent space containing life laws was nothing. Lin Mo nodded slightly towards Qing Fei and the others, and at the same time threw the violent sword to Zhuang Bai. Qing Fei and Shui Zilan's eyes narrowed sharply. They recognized that this sword was the magic weapon Lin Mo obtained after killing the alien leader on the second level. It was said to be very useful in the second stage of the competition. Lin Mo actually gave this sword to Zhuang Bai, which showed that the relationship between the two was indeed good. It also showed that Lin Mo was very confident in his own strength. He didn't need the help of this sword at all. Zhuang Bai took the violent sword and was stunned for a moment. Junior brother Lin, what are you doing? Lin Mo smiled slightly, this is a magic weapon obtained from the second level. Senior brother Zhuang will know with a single detection spell. Zhuang Bai immediately understood what the sword in his hand was. He used a detection spell and knew its function. It could unleash 10 times the attack power 10 times. In the competition, it was indeed a powerful magic weapon. Especially when everyone's strength was similar, 10 times the attack power was simply like cheating. Zhuang Bai instinctively wanted to return the sword to Lin Mo, but before he could speak, Lin Mo preempted him, this thing is useless to me. Senior brother Zhuang, take it and try to win a good ranking. 10 chances, if used well, Zhuang Bai had a good chance of competing for second place. Zhuang Bai also understood this, but he looked at Qing Fei beside him. He had said before that he would let Qing Fei compete for second place. Qing Fei knew the great effect of this sword, and also understood the meaning in Lin Mo's words, and smiled freely, Senior brother Zhuang, take second place. Qing Fei's eyes were full of encouragement, and Zhuang Bai understood her meaning, I will try my best. Qing Fei smiled, a very bright smile. Not far away, Dongfang Zi and Wei Bowen stared at Zhuang Bai and the violent sword in Zhuang Bai's hand. They never expected that Lin Mo would actually give the magic weapon to Zhuang Bai. They no longer wanted to compete with Lin Mo for first place. What they wanted now was to compete for second place. If this sword fell into Zhuang Bai's hands, they would find it difficult to guarantee even second place. Because they didn't know the specific function of the sword at all. Dongfang Zi gritted his teeth, Lin Mo, what you're doing isn't appropriate, is it? Lin Mo turned his head to look at Dongfang Zi, do you have any objections? Dongfang Zi snorted coldly, I think what you're doing violates the rules. Before Lin Mo could speak, Chu Shang roared, "It's none of your business. Do you want to fight again? I'll accompany you if you want to fight." Saying that, Chu Shang once again stuck out his chest, raised his head, and looked at Dongfangzi with his nostrils. Everyone knew that Chu Shang was sure that Dongfangzi wouldn't dare to attack. Dongfangzi was so angry that he was about to explode. Chu Shang hummed a little tune, come on, come and fight, I'm waiting for you." Ha ha, Shui Zilan couldn't help but laugh out loud. Chu Shang's appearance was really a bit funny. Dongfangzi was really too angry, but he didn't dare to really attack. He snorted heavily and stopped talking. While they were resting, the arena changed again. The arenas that were originally stacked together all dispersed and returned to their original appearance. In the very center of all the arenas, only one arena was left. The space where Lin Mo and the others were located shattered like a bubble. The space rippled with waves of water, the picture in front of them became blurred, and everyone felt that they had entered a teleportation state. The teleportation lasted for several seconds, and the picture in front of them became clear again. 5 high platforms, 4 domain lords, and 1 other shore realm expert. They were in the same posture as before, without any change. The expressions of the 4 domain lords were a bit strange at the moment. They were all staring at Lin Mo, with a strong curiosity in their eyes. Everyone has curiosity, and they all wanted to know what Lin Mo saw on the first level. The first stage of the competition is over. Next, the rules of the second stage of the competition will be announced. The old man standing on the central high platform had a heavy and majestic voice. The huge pressure was like an invisible hand heavily slapping down, making everyone breathless. Originally, Dongfangzi wanted to say something, but now that he came, he couldn't say anything. The other party was too strong. With just a look, a breath, his soul trembled non-stop. He could only prick up his ears and carefully listen to the old man's words, as if listening to teachings. Old Ancestor Shu spoke very slowly, word by word very clearly, forcefully and powerfully. According to the first stage of the competition, you have already produced a preliminary ranking. Next, the second stage of the competition will use your ranking in the first stage to conduct one-on-one duels. The winner advances, the loser is eliminated. Because your realms are similar, the second stage of the competition will no longer limit the realm, and will not limit magic weapons. Except for not being able to use soul attacks and not being able to deliberately harm people's lives, all other restrictions are cancelled. The rules of the second stage were so simple that there were no restrictions. Such a competition would definitely be more exciting. Among the remaining 10 people, only Lin Mo was not a little god venerable. Such rules could actually be considered fair. After all, Lin Mo's strength was there, and the level of realm became secondary. This guy was a freak and couldn't be judged by realm. Old Ancestor Shu continued, next, announce the battle order. No. 1 Lin Mo versus. No. 13 Shui Xing. No. 2667 Qing Fei versus. No. 5 Chu Shang. No. 3 Dongfangzi versus. No. 11 Shui Zilan. No. 4 Zhuang Bai versus. No. 6 Wei Bowen. Old Ancestor Shu announced the competition battle list, and then he opened his mouth and said, if you have any opinions, you can raise them. This old man likes to listen to the opinions of young people. These words made Dongfangzi's heart skip a beat. These words sounded a bit familiar, as if he had heard them somewhere. That old Lin who sent them here also said similar things. At that time, he didn't know the depth and raised an opinion, but as a result, old Lin ridiculed him and didn't get any benefits. Later, he also understood that people were just being polite. You can raise opinions, but they will never be accepted. It's better not to raise such opinions. Moreover, the old man in front of him didn't mention Lin Moyu gifting the Zhuangbi sword, indicating that Lin Moyu's actions were tacitly approved by him. Dongfangzi had already suffered 1 loss and would never suffer a second. The water attribute contestant arranged to fight Lin Moyu had a surge of water vapor around her. Old Ancestor Shu's gaze swept over everyone. Since none of you have any objections, then it's settled. The competition will officially begin in half an hour, with all 4 matches taking place simultaneously. Also, please note that these 4 matches will be projected throughout the starfield. As he spoke, he inadvertently glanced at Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu also realized that these words were meant for him. The Beyond Realm expert meant for him to take it easy and not reveal all his cards. Only Lin Moyu knew that his trump cards were all killing techniques, which he couldn't reveal in the competition at all. Throughout the human race starfield, countless people simultaneously received information from the Human Emperor Network. The 4 Starfield tournament finals will begin in half an hour and will be broadcast live throughout the starfield. Everyone can go to the city squares or enter the Human Emperor Network to watch. After a few days of suspending the broadcast projection, the 4 Starfield tournament finals resumed broadcasting. Immediately, countless people flooded into the Human Emperor Network, and those ordinary people who had not yet reached the transcendent God realm and could not connect to the Human Emperor Network rushed to the city squares. For a time, countless star systems, countless life stars, and squares of all sizes were packed to the brim, overcrowded. People were everywhere, almost 360 degrees in all directions. Outside the real arena of the 4 Starfield tournament, the stands were also full of people. Especially some guests from other races. The human race arranged the best seats for them. The previous matches had allowed them to see the geniuses of the human race. It also made them realize that the human race was full of talent and had countless geniuses. The human race showed the appearance of a strong race, thriving and flourishing. The younger generation had no gaps, which was the most important thing. Especially Lin Moyu, who left a deep impression on everyone. Some people were also wondering why the projection broadcast was stopped for the past few days. What method did the human race use for the competition, and did it contain any secrets? Now that the tournament has restarted, it has drawn their attention back. No matter how they guessed, they couldn't guess the human race's true intentions. CJFF, that was an experiment on the imitation spirit array. As a result, Lin Moyu turned the tables and turned the imitation spirit array into his own experimental product. The imitation spirit array is one of the human race's most important secrets, and even the 4 domain lords only learned about it recently, let alone outsiders. Half an hour later, the finals officially began, and the 4 matches were conducted simultaneously. Lin Moyu was teleported to a ring, facing Shui Xing from a distance. Lin Moyu politely clasped his fist. "Senior Sister Shui, I'm sorry." Shui Xing's voice came from behind the water mist. "I am lucky to have reached the top 8. She rarely spoke, especially when there were many people. The more people, the fewer words. When facing Lin Moyu alone, she could still say a sentence or two. Lin Moyu said with a smile, "Luck is also part of strength." Shui Xing stopped talking and waited quietly. A minute later, the match officially began. Lin Moyu said please and waited for Shui Xing to make a move. Not only was he waiting, but countless people outside the arena were also waiting. Now it was the semi-finals, and those who could reach this point were all experts, and the duel between experts would definitely be very exciting. Especially Lin Moyu's match, everyone was guessing whether Lin Moyu would have new spells and new summons. The water mist around Shui Xing fluctuated violently, as if she was taking a deep breath, and after a few seconds a voice came out, "I concede." Everyone was stunned. Shui Xing actually conceded. Only those who had experienced the second level would not be surprised, with Lin Moyu's strength. There was no need to be abused at all, conceding was the most correct choice. Congratulations to contestant number 1 for winning. The Human Emperor Network announced the result, and at the same time controlled the Great Formation to teleport the 2 to another ring, waiting for the next round of the competition. Once the finals began, they would be one match after another, without too much downtime. Shui Xing conceded this time, but she still had matches to play next. She will compete with the losers of this round for 5th to 8th place. The 4 matches were conducted simultaneously, and the fastest to end was the match between Lin Moyu and Shui Xing, which ended in less than 5 seconds. Everyone's attention was focused on the other 3 matches. Qing Fei and Chu Shang fought together with great fanfare, but it was only great fanfare. The 2's law domains collided with each other, but they did not fight with real fire. Qing Fei clearly felt that Chu Shang was always a little absent-minded. Qing Fei smiled, as senior brother Chu worried about junior sister Zilin. Chu Shang did not shy away from it. "Yes, Zilin is facing Dongfang Zi, I'm afraid she will suffer." Chu Shang knew Dongfang Zi's strength, and Shui Zilin should not be his opponent. Qing Fei chuckled, "Senior brother Chu is worrying too much. In fact, junior sister Zilin is very powerful, even if she can't beat Dongfang Zi, she won't suffer much." Chu Shang was still worried. "That's what I said, but I'm still worried." As he said that, he turned his head to look, wanting to see the situation of the other rings, but unfortunately he couldn't see anything. Chu Shang was completely absent-minded, and shouted loudly, "I won't fight, I concede." This time, everyone was stunned. How come another one took the initiative to concede? Is the final to be used for playing? First 1551 chapters. Violent sword, God Venerable blow. After Chu Shang came back, his eyes stared unblinkingly at the ring of Dongfangzi and Shui Zilan's field. At this time, both sides have started the duel. Shui Zilan was covered in thick layers of ice, and the surrounding 100 meters were the world of ice. A large number of puppets surrounded Dongfangzi from all directions. The puppets are not strong, some are at the 9th rank of the God King, and 3 of them are at the realm of the little God Venerable. Shui Zilan is like a commander, commanding her puppet army, and fighting back and forth with Dongfangzi. If the single strength is not enough, then make up for it with quantity. That's what Shui Zilan did. Dongfangzi knew very well that the best way was to solve Shui Zilan herself. But Shui Zilan was surrounded by thick layers of ice. Even if he was powerful, he couldn't break it in 2 or 3 hits. Shui Zilan is not weak. How weak can she be if she is also a little God Venerable? Seeing Shui Zilan's orderly advance and retreat, Chu Shang was relieved. On another ring, Zhuangbai also fought with Wei Bowen. Wei Bowen used the secret method of the God of War Palace. The La Domain unfolded, and in his La Domain, one warrior after another appeared. These warriors seemed to be from ancient times, wearing ancient armor, and their aura was extremely powerful. Wei Bowen said in a low voice, "This is the secret method of my God of War Palace. I advise you to concede as soon as possible." Zhuangbai said with a smile, "Whether you win or lose, you have to fight to know." Wei Bowen shook his head. "Don't look at your number as higher than mine. That's because you took advantage of the situation at that time. Simply in terms of strength, you are still a little short. You talk too much nonsense." Zhuangbai shouted lightly, and the La Domain also opened suddenly. His La Domain was filled with swords, a dense array of sharp blades, numbering in the tens of millions. The swords shimmered with golden light, appearing incredibly sharp. Wei Bowen looked at Zhuangbai's La Domain and frowned. "Your La Domain looks somewhat familiar." Zhuangbai smiled. "My ancestors once joined the Hall of War Gods and obtained a lineage from the Hall of War Gods." Wei Bowen immediately understood. "I see, you received the Golden Sword inheritance." Zhuangbai nodded. "Then you should know what kind of power the Golden Sword inheritance, based on the metal sharpness law of the 5 elements, can unleash." Wei Bowen immediately thought of something, his face changing drastically. At this moment, Zhuangbai pointed his finger, and countless golden swords shot out like rain towards Wei Bowen. The sword rain was dense and countless. Wei Bowen's La Domain was immediately riddled with holes. The warriors in the La Domain raised their war blades and collided with Zhuangbai's golden sword rain. The laws rumbled, the arena trembled constantly, and the ground shattered. Both were minor god sovereigns, and had reached the peak of minor god sovereigns. The collision almost caused the arena to collapse. Of course, everyone with discernment knew that the arena could not possibly collapse. Let alone minor god sovereigns, even god sovereigns fighting would not cause any problems to the arena. The strength of this grand formation was beyond everyone's imagination. The current state was just to enhance the combat effect. The arena simulated a more realistic star hardness, and ordinary stars naturally could not withstand the aftershocks of a minor god sovereign's battle. Wei Bowen's La Domain was retreating steadily under Zhuangbai's golden sword attack. He roared repeatedly, raised his hands, and unleashed new spells. Spell: War God Iron Armor. The ancient warriors in the La Domain immediately swelled in size. Their armor became thicker and heavier, and at the same time shimmered with metallic luster. The ancient warrior's defense became extremely strong, actually blocking Zhuangbai's attack. Zhuangbai's eyes changed, and he also cast a spell. The golden light in the La Domain was greatly enhanced, and a huge golden sword slowly flew out. Lin Mo immediately saw that this golden giant sword was actually a soul magic weapon, and its level was very high, reaching the god sovereign realm. The golden sword inheritance should refer to this soul magic weapon. There are many kinds of soul magic weapons, not only those that attack the soul are called soul magic weapons. Those magic weapons that need to be driven by the soul are actually considered soul magic weapons. This golden sword is like this. It belongs to the god sovereign realm soul magic weapon, which needs to be driven by the soul, and can be integrated into the La Domain to exert amazing combat power. However, Zhuangbai is not a true god sovereign yet. It is a bit difficult to use this soul magic weapon. I am afraid it will not last too long. And using this sword will inevitably pay a considerable price. So in the first level, Zhuang Bai never used this sword. Lin Mo could see this, and Wei Bowen could also see it. Wei Bowen said loudly, "You can only use this sword once, after that, you will not be my opponent." Zhuang Bai was under great pressure at this time, his forehead was covered with sweat. It is rare for a god king to sweat, which shows that he has used all his strength. Zhuang Bai gritted his teeth, all his soul power controlling the golden sword, and at the same time took out the violent sword Lin Mo gave him. Wei Bowen's pupils shrank suddenly, he naturally recognized the violent sword. This was Lin Mo's trophy, handed over to Zhuang Bai. Although he didn't know the specific function of this sword, he could be sure that this sword was very strong. Zhuang Bai gripped the violent sword tightly, and swung it violently with a roar. The violent sword suddenly burst out a strange force, this force resonated with the grand formation, and Zhuang Bai's law domain instantly increased 10 times. Billions of sharp swords flew out again like raindrops, and at the same time, the huge golden sword, with a deafening sword sound, turned into a golden dragon and pounced towards Wei Bowen. Wei Bowen's eyes shrank violently, and 2 jade plaques appeared in his hand and were crushed at the same time. The jade plaques were black and white, like the 2 sides of yin and yang. At the same time as crushing, a black and white light cluster enveloped himself. Then Wei Bowen pinched several magic formulas in a row, and roared in a low voice, "War God Chain." Invisible chains flew out, entered his law domain, and connected with all the ancient warriors. In an instant, all the ancient warriors shouted in unison, and the same black and white light clusters appeared on their bodies. The ancient warriors formed a humanoid shield, blocking Wei Bowen behind them. Wei Bowen knew that as long as he blocked this sword, he would win. Zhuang Bai only had the power of 1 sword, he could not strike a second sword. It was too difficult for a minor god sovereign to drive a god sovereign realm magic weapon. If there was no violent sword, his idea was right, Zhuang Bai's power might really be unable to break his defense. But now with the violent sword, the 10-fold increase allowed Zhuang Bai to truly exert the power of the golden sword. At the moment of contact with the golden giant dragon, Wei Bowen's face changed wildly, he knew he was wrong. The attack power of Zhuang Bai's sword had surpassed the minor god sovereign, and truly reached the god sovereign realm. Although there was no power blessing of the Lost Star River, it was not something he could resist. Faced with the god sovereign attack, Wei Bowen knew he would definitely lose. The law domain collapsed in front of him, and the black and white light clusters only lasted for half a second before being swallowed by the golden giant dragon. The powerful ancient warriors could not stop the sword rain attack at all. Wei Bowen did not give up, he unleashed the great divine art secret technique in a roar. His body swelled, his physical strength greatly increased, and his whole body was dyed with ironstone color. He refused to give up, wanting to block this sword. The golden giant dragon rushed through his body and then disappeared into the air. Wei Bowen's body was 10 meters tall, huge and incomparable. The clothes on his body had been broken, covered with wounds. Wei Bowen stood there motionless, and only after more than 10 seconds did he crash to the ground, his body rapidly shrinking. Wei Bowen was covered in injuries, bleeding profusely, and unable to fight again. Zhuang Bai gasped for breath, he had also used all his strength for this sword. After this sword, he would not be able to recover in a few days. The 2 were teleported away and returned to the waiting area. 2 rays of light fell, and the situation of the 2 quickly improved. Wei Bowen, who was covered in wounds, healed in the blink of an eye, and the whole person jumped up, radiant. Zhuang Bai also regained his spirits, and all the sequelae disappeared. The 2 bathed in the light beam, returning to their peak state. In this way, there is no need to consider the problem of injury in battle, and every battle can maintain a full state. Lin Mo smiled, "How do you feel?" Zhuang Bai smiled, "Awesome." At this moment, besides the word, awesome, he could not use other words to describe it. The feeling of being able to manipulate the power of the God Sovereign realm, no one can feel it except for personal experience. Zhuang Bai won and successfully advanced to the top 4. Lin Mo smiled, "See your luck, good luck can get second place." Now that he has reached this point, the top 4 are basically determined. Lin Mo, Qing Fei, and Zhuang Bai have been determined. The last one, Dongfang Zi, has already taken the upper hand. Shui Zilan's puppet army has been severely damaged, and Shui Zilan has had to take back 3 minor god realm puppets. Her defense has also been gradually captured by Dongfang Zi, and has fallen into passivity. Losing is only a matter of time, and there is almost no chance of a comeback. Qing Fei came over. She was also watching the match between Dongfangzi and Shui Zilan. Qing Fei said, Dongfangzi didn't use his full strength. Lin Mo nodded. If this guy mobilized the power of the Law Galaxy, he could have ended the battle long ago. Zhuang Bai said, he should be trying to save something for you. If he is paired with you, I will return the violent treasure sword to you. Lin Mo smiled, no need, it doesn't take much effort to deal with him. Qing Fei also smiled slightly from the side. Zhuang Bai was a little strange, what's wrong? Qing Fei said, not to mention Dongfangzi only mobilizing the power of the Law Galaxy, even if he became a god lord on the spot, it would be useless. Zhuang Bai didn't quite understand. Qing Fei explained the matter of the second floor to him, and Zhuang Bai then realized that Lin Mo's summons had reached this level. No wonder he doesn't need the violent treasure sword, it's really unnecessary. A god lord realm summon, no matter how Dongfangzi struggles, it's useless. I concede. Shui Zilan made a crisp sound, and then was teleported away from the arena. Her defensive ice layer was about to collapse, and she directly surrendered at the last moment. After returning, Shui Zilan also came to the group. Chu Shang asked with concern, are you okay? Shui Zilan shook her head, I'm fine, I originally wanted to force out his trump card, but I didn't succeed. Lin Mo smiled, it's not important. After the 4 battles ended, the Human Emperor Network directly announced that the next round of battles would begin in 5 minutes. The semi-finals of the top 4 in the matches for 5th to 8th place will be held at the same time, without distinction. This rule dashed Zhuang Bai's original idea of lending the violent treasure sword to Chu Shang. The battle list was announced, semi-final group, open black lens bracket no. 1 Lin Mo vs. No. 3 Dongfangzi, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket no. 2 Qing Fei vs. No. 4 Zhuang Bai, close black lens bracket. 5th to 8th place match group, open black lens bracket no. 5 Chu Shang vs. No. 13 Shui Xing, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket no. 6 Wei Bowen vs. No. 11 Shui Zilan, close black lens bracket. It is still the system of winners advancing. The winners of the 2 groups in the semi-finals will advance to the 1st and 2nd places, and the losers will compete for the 3rd and 4th places. The same is true for the 5th to 8th place match group. The winners of the 2 groups will compete for the 5th and 6th places, and the losers will compete for the 7th and 8th places. The audience once again focused their attention on Lin Mo. As the biggest dark horse of this session, Lin Mo has been surprising since he first appeared. Before the competition, his reputation was already considerable, and now he has become a household name. People have been discussing Lin Mo the most recently. Not only the Vermilion Bird Starfield, but people in other starfields are also discussing it. This time Lin Mo's opponent is Dongfangzi from the God City. Dongfangzi should not take the initiative to concede, right? Naturally not. Lin Mo is a seeded player recommended by the Domain Master of the Vermilion Bird Starfield, and Dongfangzi is a seeded player from the God City. The 2 are from different camps. After the competition, according to convention, Lin Mo will definitely enter the God City. Dongfangzi may be his senior. Lin Mo will not deliberately throw the match, right? What are you kidding about? Is Lin Mo that kind of person? Throwing a match in this kind of competition, unless he has water in his brain. In the stands outside the arena, guests from other races are also paying attention to Lin Mo. Besides watching the competition, they also need to collect information on the newly promoted geniuses of the human race. Especially a dark horse like Lin Mo is even more worthy of attention. Several god lords are also discussing Lin Mo against Dongfangzi, the 4 starfields against the God City. I wonder who will win or lose. Dongfangzi's reputation is not small in the God City. He has been polishing his skills in the Little God Lord realm for many years, and has been delaying his promotion to God Lord, all for this 4 Starfield Grand competition. Although Lin Mo can summon summons of the Little God Lord realm, the gap between Little God Lord realms is also extremely large, and these summons alone are far from enough to deal with Dongfangzi. This old man also thinks that Dongfangzi has a greater chance of winning, not to mention hard power. I heard that there is a magic weapon in the God City specially for dealing with summoners. You mean Dongfangzi will use that thing? Who knows? If that's the case, Lin Mo is afraid that he has no chance of winning at all. You can tell from Dongfangzi's smile that he is very confident, and may have prepared a way to deal with summoners. Most god lords feel that Dongfangzi will have the upper hand. Lin Mo is strong, but there is still a gap compared to Dongfangzi. Mainly they have never seen the situation in the second floor before, otherwise they would not have said that. In the arena, Dongfangzi looked at Lin Mo, revealing a trace of a smile, seemingly confident of victory. Lin Mo was a little strange, this guy seemed confident in dealing with himself. Dongfangzi said loudly, Lin Mo, you are indeed very strong. As a summoner, your advantage in every previous match was too obvious. I even once suspected whether the rules were customized for you, why every rule is beneficial to you. Fortunately, this time the final is still using the most traditional one-on-one, this time your advantage is completely gone. Lin Mo tilted his head, and for a moment he couldn't figure out Dongfangzi's thoughts, and didn't understand what he meant. This guy isn't crazy, is he? The thought popped up in his mind. Lin Mo said strangely, what exactly do you want to say? Dongfangzi sneered, you will know soon, I am destined to win this match. The match began, and a disc-like object appeared in Dongfangzi's hand. He roared, the law domain unfolded, and the disc shattered along with it. The shattered disc transformed into countless light spots, merging into his law domain. Dongfangzi's law domain changed, from solid to virtual, becoming intangible, and at the same time the range became extremely large, not only covering the entire arena but even extending outwards. Lin Mo only felt his body sink slightly, as if something had been sealed. Dongfangzi sneered, this is the law restriction disc, merging with my law domain, it can prohibit all spells. Law restriction disc, prohibits all spells. Lin Mo didn't panic, he tried it, and found that his spells really couldn't be used. Looking at Dongfangzi again, he seemed to be affected as well. Lin Mo said with some disdain, to be able to use such a means of hurting the enemy 1000 and self-damaging 800, I admire you. Dongfangzi chuckled, I am different from you, without spells, I can still fight. Lin Mo suddenly said, are you blind, or do you have a bad memory? Dongfangzi was stunned, not understanding what Lin Mo meant. But the next second he understood. Lin Mo appeared in front of him like lightning, and a golden fist zoomed in. Chapter 1553 One shock after another. Full of golden light, the rapidly growing fist made Dongfangzi feel bewildered. By the time he reacted, Lin Mo's fist had already hit him squarely in the face. His head ached violently, and his entire person flew backwards uncontrollably. Lin Mo chased after Dongfangzi at an even faster speed, punching and kicking him without any mercy. Dongfangzi screamed non-stop, he wanted to fight back, but he found that he couldn't use spells. The law restriction disc is a double-edged sword, not only sealing Lin Mo's spells, but also sealing his own spells. At the same time, Dongfangzi realized that he had forgotten to consider Lin Mo's physical body. Lin Mo possesses a powerful physical body, one that is comparable to the Battle God Palace's vigorous mysterious law form, far stronger than his own. Facing Lin Mo's storm-like fists and feet, he had no power to fight back. Dongfangzi roared, and a hazy and mystical law galaxy appeared above his head. The law galaxy is far less clear than that of a god lord. Dongfangzi only underwent a small half of the baptism, and the power of the law galaxy that he can mobilize is limited. But the law galaxy is after all the power of the god lord realm, even if it is only a part, it is enough to look down on all little god lords. The law galaxy poured down, and the huge force crashed into Lin Mo, immediately knocking him away. At this moment, Dongfangzi's nose was bruised and his face was swollen, and almost all 29 bones in his body had cracks. Fortunately, he was a minor god sovereign and could withstand it. But if it had been half a minute later, it is estimated that this body would have been completely blown up by Lin Moyu. Dongfangzi said with lingering fear, this time I miscalculated. I forgot that you have a powerful physical body. I have to say, you are really a powerful opponent, stronger than all the minor god sovereigns I have ever encountered. As he spoke, the river of laws and stars flowed down, enveloping Dongfangzi and protecting him. Lin Moyu waved his arm, your physical body is too poor, it's no fun fighting. Dongfangzi snorted, nowadays, who still cultivates the physical body? What's the use of your physical body being strong? Now that spells are forbidden, I can mobilize the river of laws and stars. What else do you have? The river of laws and stars is not spells, but an ability. With spells forbidden, it was impossible for Lin Moyu to block the river of laws and stars. The river of laws and stars quickly grew larger, with turbulent waves inside, and a huge force began to pour down. The River of Laws and Stars has many uses and is one of the main methods used by God Sovereigns to deal with enemies. Dongfangzi is not yet a God Sovereign, and his ability to manipulate the River of Laws and Stars is extremely limited, but it is enough to deal with Lin Moyu. Unfortunately, he didn't see any panic in Lin Moyu's eyes. Lin Moyu's calm demeanor made Dongfangzi feel a trace of unease. He no longer delayed, and the immense power in the River of Laws and Stars quickly surged towards Lin Moyu. In an instant, the entire domain of laws was filled with rolling waves, and attacks swept in from all directions. Lin Moyu was still not flustered, and there was really nothing to be flustered about. The spell restriction disc did seal his spells, but not all spells were sealed. At least the skeleton hell could still be used normally. This spell, led by infinite fusion based on the chaos laws, and fused with multiple stellar level spells, was of a very high level and was not affected by the seal. In addition, there were 2 original spells that were also not affected by the seal. The 2 major original spells, Strong Soldier and Gathering Power, were of such a high level that the seal had no effect on them. Although the Undead Legion could not be summoned, it could still provide power for gathering power. A sword appeared in Lin Moyu's hand, a low-grade magic weapon of the True God realm. Dongfangzi snorted coldly, what's the use of a low-grade magic weapon of the True God realm? The next second, his eyes widened directly. Lin Moyu's aura suddenly became stronger, reaching the Minor God Sovereign realm almost instantly. What kind of spell is this? How can it suddenly become stronger? Why wasn't this spell sealed? Dongfangzi couldn't believe it. There were indeed spells that could instantly increase strength, and there were quite a few of them. But these spells could only increase by 1 or 2 levels at most, and being able to increase by 4 levels would be considered a top-tier spell. But Lin Moyu directly crossed from the 4th level of God King to the Minor God Sovereign. In just an instant, he crossed 6 realms. A trace of panic appeared on Dongfangzi's face, but he quickly calmed down. Even if you can reach the Minor God Sovereign, so what? The Minor God Sovereign still can't block the attack of the River of Laws and Stars. He shouldn't be using a secret technique, but a talent. His talent is to instantly increase his realm, it must be so. Dongfangzi seemed to have found the reason and became confident again. At this moment, the attack of the River of Laws and Stars had arrived. Dongfangzi roared, and the River of Laws and Stars enveloped Lin Moyu, and the tyrannical attack landed on Lin Moyu. Die! Dongfangzi roared in his heart, fully manipulating the River of Laws and Stars to attack Lin Moyu. Suddenly, a vast pressure rose up, and the waves of the River of Laws and Stars were blown away, going against the current. Dongfangzi groaned and was also blown away nearly 1,000 miles. He stood high in the sky, looking at Lin Moyu from a distance, his eyes full of shock and disbelief. Not only him, but all the God Sovereigns in the audience stood up abruptly, without exception, their eyes widened, staring at Lin Moyu. Those guests from foreign races were also God Sovereigns, and they were also looking at Lin Moyu, so shocked that they couldn't speak. Lin Moyu's aura was like a dragon, turning into a spiral and rising into the sky. Above his head, a gray and white River of Laws and Stars shone brightly. Lin Moyu's River of Laws and Stars was different from Dongfangzi's. His River of Laws and Stars was extremely solid, and there was no difference from the River of Laws and Stars of a true God Sovereign. It was many times stronger than Dongfangzi's illusory River of Laws and Stars. The River of Laws and Stars also had rolling waves, making a roaring sound. Dongfangzi murmured in disbelief, how can you possibly reach the God Sovereign realm? Stepping into the God Sovereign realm from the God King realm, what kind of talent is this? How could such a talent exist in the world? He didn't believe it, he wouldn't believe it even if he died. Not only did he not believe it, even old ancestor Shu of the other shore realm didn't quite believe it. Lin Moyu gave people shock after shock, each more terrifying than the last. With spells sealed, Lin Moyu could only use the River of Laws and Stars to cope with the River of Laws and Stars summoned by Dongfangzi. The original spells were activated, and with the help of hundreds of millions of undead legions, he was directly pushed to the God Sovereign realm. His soul had already been baptized by the River of Laws and Stars, and he could fully mobilize the River of Laws and Stars. At this moment, his combat power was no different from that of a newly promoted God Sovereign. Even if he continued to improve without any scruples, he would be even stronger than a newly promoted God Sovereign. But to deal with Dongfangzi, the current state was already enough. After reaching the God Sovereign realm, Lin Moyu suddenly felt a lightness all over his body, and the seal of the spell restriction disc lost its effect. The spell restriction disc could only seal spells below the god realm. Once he reached the god sovereign realm, the spell restriction disc would have no effect. Lin Moyu didn't make any further explanations. For people like Dongfangzi, explanation was a waste of breath. With a gentle wave of the low-grade True God Realm longsword in his hand, Lin Moyu didn't use his full strength, nor did he use the power of the River of Laws and Stars. As for spells, although the seal had been broken, he still didn't use them. He really couldn't use too much power, otherwise, he might accidentally kill Dongfangzi. He only used the most basic power of the God Sovereign, and waved a sword energy. The low-grade True God Realm longsword in his hand instantly shattered into powder with his wave. Dongfangzi had no way to dodge Lin Moyu's attack and was instantly swallowed by the sword energy. Chapter 1554 The highlight moment of the Vermilion Bird Star region. Dongfangzi was terrified. He felt that he was going to die, he was really going to die. When he came back to his senses, he found that he had returned to the resting platform. The Human Emperor Network was announcing the news that Lin Moyu had won and advanced to the finals. Dongfangzi's consciousness finally completely woke up. He knew that he had lost, and he had lost without any injustice. He had his trump cards, and Lin Moyu had his as well. Lin Moyu hadn't revealed his trump cards in the second level. He now knew that Lin Moyu's greatest strength was not summoning the skeleton army, but himself. Thinking of Lin Moyu's appearance of becoming a god sovereign on the spot, with the River of Laws and Stars above his head, it was chilling to think about. A sense of frustration arose in Dongfangzi's heart. It had to be said that it was a tragedy to be born in the same era as such a person. He looked to the side and saw Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu also noticed Dongfangzi's gaze and turned to look. The two's gazes collided in the air, and Dongfangzi saluted Lin Moyu. "Thank you, junior brother Lin, for showing mercy." If Lin Moyu hadn't shown mercy with that sword just now, he would have been injured to some extent. But now he didn't have any injuries at all. He still had this self-awareness. Lin Moyu said calmly, "Senior brother Dongfang, you don't have to be polite. We are just competing, not mortal enemies." Dongfangzi smiled and didn't speak any further. He had many opinions and much dissatisfaction with Lin Moyu before. But now, he was completely convinced. The difference between the two is too great, they are not on the same level at all. The battle between Lin Moyu and Dongfangzi ended, causing a huge uproar outside the arena. Oh my god, Lin Moyu actually summoned the Law Galaxy in the end. How did he do that? Isn't he in the God King realm? How could he summon the Law Galaxy? Anything is possible, maybe he has some kind of secret technique. I don't think it's a secret technique, it might be some kind of extremely powerful talent. In any case, Lin Moyu told the entire human race that he could increase his combat power to the God Venerable realm at any time. There are many spies from other races within the human race, many people controlled by other races using various secret techniques. They will definitely pass his information out. Those who try every possible means to kill him will definitely not be few. Lin Moyu is very clear about this. He knows that even if he only shows the combat power of a minor god venerable, those guys will still come to kill him. Since that's the case, it's better to show himself even more strongly. He is telling others that if you want to kill me, then send out even stronger people. With the other shore realm being difficult to act, the only ones who can attack him are god venerables. However, those peak god venerables, like Zhu Tian, are also being monitored by the human race. Even high-level god venerables are being monitored. The two sides restrain each other, and no one can easily act. Then the people who come to kill him will only be initial stage god venerables, or mid-stage god venerables. Lin Moyu is really not afraid of these guys. Facing low-level god venerables, he can completely counter-kill them. Facing mid-level god venerables, even if he can't counter-kill, self-preservation is not a problem. Similarly, if you want to kill him, you must be prepared to be killed. The wealth of a god venerable is far more than that of a god king. As his combat power continues to increase, the elemental lich falls behind again, and better materials are needed to upgrade them. Better materials require more points. Lin Moyu discovered that he is still very poor, extremely poor. Lin Moyu's eyes flickered, and he thought to himself, killing god venerables should earn a lot, right? Old Ancestor Shu has been observing Lin Moyu. He noticed Lin Moyu's eyes and muttered to himself, this kid seems to be up to no good. He deliberately exposed his strength. What does he want to do? The contest between Qing Fei and Zhuang Bai also had a result after a period of time. The result was somewhat unexpected, but also within Lin Moyu's expectations. The two only exchanged a few symbolic moves, and then Qing Fei admitted defeat and surrendered, directly giving the second place to Zhuang Bai. Qing Fei chose Zhuang Bai between the ranking and Zhuang Bai. After the competition, Zhuang Bai's expression was a little complicated. Lin Moyu patted Zhuang Bai's shoulder. "Congratulations." Zhuang Bai said blankly, "Congratulations for what?" Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Senior brother Zhuang and senior sister Qing are a good match." Zhuang Bai whispered, "Junior sister Qing Fei is very excellent." Lin Moyu nodded, "No need to be so quiet, senior sister Qing can hear you." He gestured with his eyes, and Zhuang Bai realized that Qing Fei had already appeared beside him at some point. Zhuang Bai immediately said to Qing Fei, "Thank you, junior sister." Qing Fei smiled and didn't say anything. Lin Moyu said, "Senior brother Zhuang, give the violent sword to senior sister Qing." The subtext of this sentence is that the second place has been given to you, the third place should always be given to others. Zhuang Bai oed and immediately took out the violent sword to Qing Fei. Anyway, it's useless for him to hold it now. Does he still want to compete with Lin Moyu for first place? Even if he holds the violent sword, it's still giving away food against Lin Moyu. Qing Fei did not refuse Zhuang Bai's kindness and took the violent sword. After the detection technique, she knew the use of the violent sword. With it, she will definitely be able to defeat Dongfangzi. She wasn't sure before, but now there is naturally no problem. The competition for 5th to 8th place also ended. Chu Shang and Wei Bowen won respectively. Finally, Chu Shang and Wei Bowen will compete for 5th and 6th place, and Shui Xing and Shui Zilan will compete for 7th and 8th place. The 4 Starfield competition has reached here, and the rankings have basically been locked. The first place belongs to Lin Moyu. Without a doubt, Zhuang Bai cannot compete with Lin Moyu. The 3rd and 4th places will be produced between Qing Fei and Dongfangzi. Chu Shang and Wei Bowen compete for 5th place. Lin Moyu is clear that Chu Shang is not Wei Bowen's opponent. Normally, the 5th place should belong to Wei Bowen. Not to mention Shui Zilan and Shui Xing. Shui Xing has always been Shui Zilan's little follower, and she will definitely not compete with Shui Zilan. The greatest possibility is that Shui Xing will directly admit defeat, and Shui Zilan will get 7th. Although they failed to get the top 3, it is already a very good result for the Xuanwu Starfield. There are many smart people in the observation, and many people have analyzed the general results. In the last round of the competition, the most interesting one is the competition between Qing Fei and Dongfangzi. The other people's competitions are no longer interesting. Soon the last round of the competition began. Zhuang Bai directly chose to admit defeat at the beginning of the battle. Lin Moyu rightfully won the first place, and Zhuang Bai the second. The top 2 were taken by Suzaku Starfield contestants, which also became the highlight moment of Suzaku Starfield. Zhu Tian's old face was like a blooming chrysanthemum, extremely brilliant. This is the most face he has had since he became the domain lord. At his level, besides the unattainable other shore realm, face is the most important thing. This time, the Suzaku Starfield can take the top 2 of the 4 Starfield competition, which is the real highlight. Compared to Bai Binger, her face is the most ugly. The 2 players from the White Tiger Starfield have been directly eliminated, and they are not even in the top 8. Wu Da chuckled. The Xuanwu Starfield accounted for 2 places in the top 8, although it was the last 2, but he was satisfied. Yi Qingshan was also in a good mood. Qing Fei has good talent and is worth cultivating well. Zhu Tian chuckled. It's hard to say whether Qing Fei will be from the White Tiger Starfield in the future. The appearance of Qing Fei and Zhuang Bai, all 4 people saw in their eyes, how could they not know? Yi Qingshan snorted. Qing Fei does not necessarily marry out. Our Azure Dragon Starfield allows son-in-law to live with his wife's family. Zhu Tian shook his head. Zhuang Bai is from the Zhuang family, his ancestors came from the Hall of War Gods, and once served as the master of the Hall of War Gods. Can such a person live with his wife's family? Yi Qingshan was still not convinced. Qing Fei is also from the Qing family, and is not much worse than the Zhuang family. The 2 old guys were not convinced by anyone, and started to quarrel after saying a few words. Bai Binger and Wu Da were not surprised by this situation. It's not the first time, they're used to it. Chapter 1555. Wine disrupts light talk, situation in the Divine City. In the last round of the competition, the most exciting one was indeed the one between Qingfei and Dongfangzi. They fought very fiercely. Qingfei did not use the violent sword at the beginning, but used her own strength to fight Dongfangzi. The two released their spells together, fighting extremely fiercely. The strength of the two sides is similar, and it is difficult to tell the winner for a while. Qingfei was born in the Azure Dragon Starfield. She allowed the characteristics of the practitioners of the Azure Dragon Starfield to be brought into play. The fierce offensive made countless people feel as if they were cut by sword energy even though they were only watching the game. Even Dongfangzi, facing Qingfei's fierce attack, was a little timid and difficult to use. However, his strength was indeed powerful. Although suppressed, he maintained a balanced state throughout. It wasn't until Dongfangzi summoned the Law Galaxy that the situation reversed, and Qingfei was suppressed. The Law Galaxy had already surpassed the scope of a lesser god sovereign, and Qingfei couldn't resist it even with all her strength. Just when everyone thought Dongfangzi would achieve final victory, Qingfei used the violent sword. Borrowing the tenfold increase of the violent sword, Qingfei's combat power barely touched the threshold of the god sovereign realm. Relying on the violent sword and her own sharp offensive, Qingfei finally achieved victory and took third place. Wei Bowen's battle with Chu Shang was no surprise. Chu Shang was indeed a bit weaker than Wei Bowen. After a fierce battle, Wei Bowen won and took 5th place. The ranking of the top 8 was completely settled, which also meant the official end of the 4-star region competition. Next, they waited for the Human Emperor Network to announce the final overall ranking and distribute rewards accordingly. However, the overall ranking wouldn't be released so quickly, it would be announced in 2 days. The crowd returned to the great competition city, gathering by the lake in front of Lin Mo's house. Xu Jiangxing took the initiative to catch fish and then started grilling them. With the end of the great competition, everyone clearly relaxed. Shui Zilan and Qingfei both brought out fine wines, allowing everyone to taste the flavors of different star regions. Among the people present, only Xu Jiangxing's ranking had not yet been determined, and he was clearly still apprehensive. Apart from the top 16, the Human Emperor Network would score and rank the final rankings of the remaining people based on each person's overall performance. Different rankings also affected the amount of rewards. Everyone ate grilled fish, drank wine, and talked about the possible rewards. According to the standards of previous 4-star region competitions, the most important reward was the qualification to enter the God City. The qualifications do not include seed players. Seed players either have the qualifications themselves, or they come from the God City, or from the Ares Temple. They do not need this qualification to enter the city. After excluding the seed players, the remaining top 100 people can obtain the qualification to enter the God City. If the top 100 people originally had the qualification to enter the God City, then they would be additionally rewarded with God City merit points. And seed players will also receive God City merit points based on different rankings. Xu Jiangxing came from God City and knew the most about God City merit points. At this time, Xu Jiangxing had drunk a lot, and his handsome face was flushed. The most important thing in God City is the level. Starting from the unrated outer personnel, there are primary, intermediate, and advanced levels above. To improve the level, you need God City merit points and complete some promotion tasks. Promotion tasks are difficult and dangerous, and you may die if you don't do well. Many people have enough God City merit points, but they don't dare to do the tasks. But if you can't be promoted, even if you have God City merit points, you won't be able to buy too many good things. So many people would rather go to the outside of God City to practice, earn points, and buy materials. Zhuangbai was a little puzzled. The promotion task is very difficult. Can't you do it after your realm and cultivation level are high enough? A task that a god king can't do may become easier for a little god. If even the little god can't do it, then it's okay to wait until the god, right? Xu Jiangxing poured himself wine. It's useless, the promotion task is related to your realm. The higher the realm, the more difficult the task. Like Dongfangzi, he wants to complete the level upgrade before the god. If he becomes the god and then does the promotion task, the difficulty will only be higher than it is now. Chu Shang said, the promotion task will change with one's own realm. This setting is really not giving people a way to survive. Lin Mo said in a low voice, this is screening. Zhuangbai also followed, natural selection. Survival of the fittest. Qingfei slowly uttered 8 words. Although Xu Jiangxing only said a little bit of information, everyone could feel that the rules in God City seemed to be more cruel. There is absolutely no protection from the human emperor network. In fact, in the star fields outside God City, once the permission reaches level 5, the human emperor network will no longer deliberately protect it. Level 5 permission can move freely in any area except God City, and many of the tasks that can be accepted are not in the human race star field. The degree of danger is also very high. The difference is that the level 5 permission task can be freely selected, while the promotion task is assigned by God City. In comparison, the promotion task is naturally more dangerous. But in God City, if you don't improve your level, it may not be as good as outside. According to Xu Jiangxing, the primary and intermediate levels are a watershed. Starting from the intermediate level, you can truly enjoy the various resources of God City, which are incomparable to the outside world. Overall, if you don't have a level in God City and are just an outer member, it is not as good as the outside world. If you reach the primary level, it is almost the same as the outside world. Starting from the intermediate level, it surpasses the outside world. It's just that improving the level is very difficult and dangerous. Many people will give up. Xu Jiangxing said while drinking, "You should have all heard of the human race divine path." Chu Shang was also a little drunk at this time, muttering, "Nonsense, who hasn't heard of it?" The human race divine path is the supreme existence in the human race. If everyone yearns to enter God City, then the ultimate goal is to step on the human race divine path. Zhuang Bai said, "It is said that no one in the human race has set foot on the human race divine path for tens of thousands of years." Xu Jiangxing raised his wine pot. No, it is said that it is not allowed. In fact, every time the human race divine path is opened, many people go to walk. Everyone. Xu Jiangxing paused, hiccuped, and spat out a lot of alcohol. Everyone has not succeeded. Lin Mo's heart moved. Everyone. Does it also include Xiao God of War? Xu Jiangxing nodded, and everyone present was shocked. What is this human race divine path? Is it so difficult to walk? Even Xiao Zontian failed. At this time, Xu Jiangxing shook his head again. I don't know, the everyone I said is people in the last 10,000 years. I am primary can only view so little information. If you want to know more, you have to improve the level. I am just primary. When I was promoted from outer personnel to primary, I almost lost my life. That task was really too difficult. I think I am just lucky to be born in God City. If I were outside, I am afraid I would not be able to enter God City at all. Xu Jiangxing was drunk and said a lot about God City. In fact, they will also know these things after entering God City. Xu Jiangxing is only a primary member and does not know much. But knowing it earlier can always give you some psychological preparation. For example, they know that after entering God City, if you want to leave God City, you need to take a special worship. And this kind of worship requires God City merit points. If there are not enough God City merit points, you can't get out. Many outer personnel can't get out and can only stay in God City to earn God City merit points. In previous years, many people chose to enter God City later after learning this. Anyway, the qualification to enter God City will not expire. Chapter 1556. Come here, let's talk. The next day, the Human Emperor Network announced the ranking and rewards of the 4-star region competition as scheduled. First place, Lin Mo, reward 200 God City merit points. Second place, Zhuang Bai, reward 150 God City merit points. Third place, Qing Fei, reward 100 God City merit points. Fourth place, Dongfang Zi, reward 50 God City merit points. Fifth place, Zhuang Bai, reward 30 God City merit points. From 5th place to 8th place, the rewarded God City merit points are 30 points. The 9th to 16th place finishers will each be rewarded with 20 Divine City merit points. Those ranked from 16th to 100th, if they are seeded players, will be rewarded with 10 Divine City merit points. Among these people, half are not seeded players but come from the 4-star domains. Among these people, if they originally had the qualifications to enter the Divine City, they will receive 10 Divine City merit points, just like the seeded players. If they do not originally possess Divine City qualifications, the reward of Divine City merit points will be reduced to 5 points, with the addition of Divine City qualification. In other words, the qualification to enter the Divine City is worth 5 Divine City merit points. This also indirectly shows how precious Divine City merit points are. Next are the rewards for those ranked after 100th. From 100th to 199th place, the reward changes to 5 Divine City merit points. If they do not have Divine City qualifications, they will be directly given Divine City qualifications, without even giving the 5 Divine City merit points. The top 199, after removing the 99 seeded players, is exactly 100 people. Xu Jiangxing was fortunate enough to rank 198th. Although he was eliminated in the first round, his performance in the subsequent matches was decent, so his ranking changed. The Human Emperor Network considers each person's realm and cultivation. Xu Jiangxing has the lowest realm among all the contestants, which became a bonus for him. After seeing the ranking, Xu Jiangxing couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Fortunately, I didn't disgrace the Divine City. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "All right, your Divine City mission is completed, and you've earned an extra 10 merit points." Xu Jiangxing was stunned, then screamed, "Senior brother Lin, how did you know I took on the mission?" Chu Shang laughed loudly, "Not only does he know, but we all know." "Ah," Lin Moyu said, "you said it yourself yesterday when you were drunk." Xu Jiangxing immediately looked like a bitter gourd. "Alas, what a shame, I shouldn't have taken on this mission." Zhuangbai came over and patted him on the shoulder. "You already explained the reason for taking on this mission yesterday. In my opinion, being able to take on this mission is also a kind of courage." Yesterday, Xu Jiangxing was drunk and said a lot of nonsense. Actually, he shouldn't have participated in the 4-star domains competition this time. There are 2 reasons why he participated in the competition. One is the experience given by the family. The 4-star domains competition is on the family's experience list. The second is that he took on a mission. There is a very strange idea in the Divine City: the simpler the task, the fewer people do it. The safer the task, the more it is despised. If someone does it, they will be looked down upon. The competition in the Divine City is very fierce, far fiercer than the outside world. The safer the task, the fewer Divine City merit points you get, and the less popular it is. Many people think that if you take on a particularly safe task, you are a coward. But Xu Jiangxing still took it, for 10 merit points. He used family experience to convince himself at the time. After taking on the mission, his pressure became even greater. He suddenly realized that if he took on the mission and failed to complete it, wouldn't that be even more embarrassing? In the eyes of others, it's a trash mission that no one wants to take. If you not only take it but also fail to complete it, that would be truly embarrassing. Fortunately, he completed the mission this time. The requirement of the mission is to obtain Divine City merit points in the 4-star domains competition. In other words, Xu Jiangxing needs to enter the top 200. However, with Xu Jiangxing's realm, entering the top 200 is not easy. Throughout the competition, Xu Jiangxing didn't say anything, only saying it was family experience. In fact, the psychological pressure he was under was not small. After Xu Jiangxing's explanation, everyone understood the cause and effect. But Lin Moyu still had doubts in his mind. He didn't think Xu Jiangxing was the kind of person who would take on this mission for 10 Divine City merit points. Doesn't Xu Jiangxing care about face? There may be deeper reasons inside, but Lin Moyu didn't ask further. This may involve Xu Jiangxing's privacy. Zhuangbai whispered, "In any case, your mission is completed, and you've earned 10 merit points." Chu Shang also said, "Just ignore what others say, Divine City merit points are the real deal. If anyone dares to talk too much, slap them and shut them up. When I enter the Divine City, I'll see who dares to bully you. I'll beat them all up." Chu Shang patted his chest, boasting loudly. Xu Jiangxing was also infected by Chu Shang's arrogance and smiled again. Lin Moyu chuckled, "Tell me if you have any difficulties. I should be able to help with many things." Xu Jiangxing nodded vigorously. He knew that Lin Moyu's promise was not just a joke. He hasn't even entered the Divine City yet, and Lin Moyu's Divine City merit points have already reached 300. This is more than many of the old-timers in the Divine City. In addition to Lin Moyu's strength, he will definitely be a remarkable figure in the Divine City in the future. Xu Jiangxing felt that the luckiest thing he had done in recent years was to get to know Lin Moyu. If it weren't for Lin Moyu giving him a large number of magic weapons this time, he wouldn't have been able to achieve a good enough ranking in the round robin. 0 Seeking fresh flowers 0. Xu Jiangxing sincerely thanked Lin Moyu. "Senior brother Lin, thank you so much this time." Lin Moyu smiled and accepted his thanks. The players after 199th place have no Divine City qualifications and no Divine City merit points. Their rewards became points. The points gradually decreased from 10 million, and in the last sentence, only 1 million remained. The rewards for all personnel have formed a huge list, and everyone can view the specific information. The Human Emperor Network tries its best to be fair and just. If anyone still has any opinions, they are not allowed to raise them and must hold them back. The 4-star domains competition ended, and warships came to the city of competition one after another, taking the audience away. After taking the audience away, more warships arrived, this time to pick up the players. The competition is over, everyone goes back to their respective homes and finds their mothers. All players who obtained Divine City qualifications received information from the Human Emperor Network. 0. They can choose to enter the Divine City immediately, or they can choose to enter the Divine City after a while. According to Xu Jiangxing, the Divine City is not always open. The Divine City only opens once every 30 days. If you want to go, you can go to star 1 of any of the 4-star domains, where there is a teleportation array. Those who have Divine City entry qualifications can activate the teleportation array to enter the Divine City. The whole process is naturally not as simple as Xu Jiangxing said, this is just a rough step. Xu Jiangxing is going back to the Divine City. He said in a low voice, "Senior brothers and sisters, what do you decide?" After discussing, everyone didn't want to go to the Divine City now. Whether it's Qingfei or Zhuangbai, everyone has their own family. There are still some things to go back to the family to deal with. Only Lin Moyu is alone. Whether to enter the Divine City or not doesn't matter to Lin Moyu. Anyway, he can come out after entering. He has 300 Divine City merit points, enough to enter and exit several times. Thinking like this, it seems that there is no problem in going to the Divine City to take a look. However, Lin Moyu also wants to go to the other star domains to see, and also to see outside the great world. And where has Lin Mohan gone now? Whether the promotion to God Venerable was successful. The space twisted for a while, and a black shadow appeared beside everyone. The shadow's features were unclear, but everyone recognized him. It was the Beyond Realm existence who had been with the 4 domain lords. Everyone bowed to the shadow simultaneously. "Greetings, Senior." Xu Jiangxing's expression changed drastically, and he immediately knelt on the ground to perform a grand salute. "Unworthy descendant of the clan, greets ancestor." Xu family ancestor glanced at Xu Jiangxing, "You're not bad." After saying that, he beckoned to Lin Moyu, "Come over, let's chat." 1. Chapter 1557. We are not bad in this area either. I'm taking Lin Moyu away, you all proceed according to the rules. Xu ancestor left a sentence, and black light enveloped Lin Moyu, the two disappeared. Several people looked at each other. Zhuangbai looked at Xu Jiangxing who had just gotten up from the ground. "This is your family's ancestor." "That's right." Xu Jiangxing nodded, with a hint of excitement in his eyes. He had just received praise from his own ancestor, and was very excited. He knew the situation of his family. Xu ancestor was extremely strict and rarely praised people. Not receiving his praise was equivalent to an affirmation. Xu ancestor was a legend in the Xu family. He had grown up listening to Xu ancestor's deeds since he was a child. Xu ancestor's tall and majestic image had long been rooted in his heart. Chu Shang asked, "Junior brother Xu, what realm is your family's ancestor at?" "It can't be." Xu Jiangxing nodded vigorously. "Ancestor has been in the Beyond Realm for a long time." Chu Shang revealed a surprised expression. "Tut-tutting, Beyond Realm, I don't know if it's possible for me to reach it in this lifetime." Then he discovered that, apart from himself, whether it was Zhuangbai, Qingfei, or even Shui Zilan, none of them looked surprised. Chu Shang asked strangely, "Old Zhuang, aren't you surprised?" Zhuangbai said, "When Xu ancestor appeared with the 4 domain lords, I guessed that he was in the Beyond Realm." Zhuangbai came from the Zhuang family, and had family inheritance. Although no one in the family had ever reached the Beyond Realm, they still knew something about the realms above God Venerate. Chu Shang looked at Qingfei and Shui Zilan. "Did you guys guess it too?" Qingfei nodded, and Shui Zilan also said softly, "There were records in the sect." Just now, the 4 domain lords were obviously very respectful to Xu ancestor, so I guessed his identity. Chu Shang scratched his head, "So only I didn't guess it." Zhuangbai chuckled, "Who told you not to like using your brain, and also don't know what Xu ancestor brought junior brother Lin to chat about?" Qingfei said, "Do you still remember the old senior who sent us here?" Zhuangbai nodded, "That's also a Beyond Realm, right?" His aura is very similar to Shu ancestors. Qing Fei hummed, before, when we came to the great competition city, junior brother Lin and Han Shanzi were one step later than us, it's estimated that they were also left behind by that old senior. According to Qing Fei's words, Lin Moyu had already had contact with a Beyond Realm powerhouse. So this time Shu ancestor was looking for Lin Moyu, there was no need to worry about anything. Chu Shang tilted his head. Do you think Shu ancestor might have taken a fancy to junior brother Lin, and wants to take him as a disciple? Thinking about it, they felt that it was not impossible. Lin Moyu's performance was really too outstanding, even if it moved the heart of a Beyond Realm, it was very normal. A familiar aura rushed towards him. Lin Moyu saw the ancient and vast palace again. Then a faint tea fragrance wafted over, drilling into his nose, entering his soul, allowing his entire soul to stretch. Dao tea, an extremely good tea that was a level higher than enlightenment tea. It was still the simple tea table. Old Lin and Holy Venerate Hao were sitting by the tea table, seemingly chatting. Madame Yu had already left. His sister was also not here. Go sit over there. Shu ancestor led Lin Moyu over. Old Lin laughed. Old Shu, did you see any good seedlings this time? The black aura on Shu ancestor's body gradually dissipated, revealing his true face, an old man with white hair and a serious face. His appearance was 5 or 6 parts similar to Shu Qingyang, combined with Shu Zhengxing's reaction just now. Lin Moyu already knew his identity. Shu Qingyang's grandfather, Shu family ancestor. He had once accepted his private mission, successfully rescuing Shu Qingyang, who had been trapped in the nether swamp for thousands of years. Although the two had never interacted, they could be considered to have had an intersection. It's just that at that time, he was still very weak. But now, his strength was still not as good, but purely from the soul level, the two were already at the same level. 2 more teacups appeared on the tea table, and the teapot automatically flew up, adding new tea to the teacups. Only then did Lin Moyu notice that this teapot was actually a magical treasure, and at least a God Venerate Realm magical treasure, and it had also given birth to spiritual intelligence. A God Venerate Realm magical treasure with a weapon spirit, just used to make tea. If this were to spread out, it would be enough to confuse many God Venerates. He didn't even notice this last time, he really misjudged. After old Shu sat down, he directly opened his mouth. I brought the champion. Holy Venerate Hao laughed lightly. It's expected that little friend Lin can win the championship. He was not surprised at all, he knew the deepest about Lin Moyu's combat power. Not to mention that those opponents were at most small God Venerates. Even if a God Venerate participated, they might not be able to defeat Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu asked, Holy Venerate, where is my sister? Holy Venerate Hao said, something unexpected happened. Lin Moyu frowned slightly. Please tell me in detail, Holy Venerate. Han Shanzi's talent is too strong, coupled with the Dao Tea, it produced an incredible effect. Your sister not only advanced to God Venerate, but may continue to break through, directly reaching above the 3rd stage of God Venerate. Madame Yu has already taken your sister to the God City to cultivate in seclusion, it may take some time. 0 inches. Advancing to God Venerate, directly reaching above the 3rd stage of God Venerate, no one would believe it if this was said. Cultivation breakthroughs have always been step-by-step and traceable, there has never been a leapfrog advancement like Lin Mohan's. Old Shu on the side was a little surprised to hear this. When he came, Lin Mohan was still advancing to God Venerate, he was not clear about the subsequent events. Old Lin sighed on the side, a 36-year-old God Venerate. If it's said, it's probably going to scare a few people to death. Holy Venerate Hao revealed a smile. Even if it's placed in ancient times, there has never been a 36-year-old God Venerate. Shu ancestors' eyes flickered. As far as I know, in ancient times, the fastest person to advance to God Venerate was over 100 years old. Holy Venerate Hao reported a more accurate number, 108 years old. Shu ancestor hummed. Generally speaking, the God Venerates of ancient times were basically concentrated around 300 to 500 years old. At that time a 108-year-old God Venerate was already a top genius. Lin Moyu was also a little shocked to hear this. Were the cultivators of ancient times so strong? Most God Venerates were concentrated around 300 to 500 years old. Looking at this era now, most 300-year-old cultivators are still in the true God realm, still hundreds of thousands of miles away from God Venerate. Old Lin smiled. Now Han Shanzi has broken the record of ancient times, not to mention little friend Lin, which shows that we are not bad in this era either. Shu ancestor cut, far from it, how glorious and splendid was that era, compared to them, we are just a pile of destructive garbage. Then 0.5 he turned to Holy Venerate How again. Holy Venerate, do you have any clues about the exploration of ancient times? Holy Venerate How shook his head. Currently, there is not much progress. Shu ancestor sighed. Could it be that there is really no way? Holy Venerate How shook his head. Whether there is a way, it is still not easy to say now. We can only say that we still have hope. Saying that, he looked at Lin Moyu. Old Lin also looked at Lin Moyu at the same time. Lin Moyu suddenly realized something. The words of several Beyond Realm powerhouses were not casual conversations, there was a deep meaning in them, possibly related to himself. Lin Moyu said, Holy Venerate, if there is anything you need, please feel free to ask. Holy Venerate How finally shook his head. Your strength is still not enough now. When you reach God Venerate, or even Beyond Realm, you will be able to come into contact with those things. But we can also tell you some information in advance, some things you will also have to face in the future. Chapter 1558, Strength Enough to Decide Fate. The magnificent and ancient palace flew rapidly towards the God City. The space around the palace was completely distorted, creating a sense of spatiotemporal dislocation. Their speed had far exceeded the speed of light many times over. This was a method of flight that Lin Moyu had never seen before. It was neither like teleportation nor like spatial jumping. It seemed to be related to the laws of space, but also seemed to have nothing to do with them. It should be said that this mode of movement was too advanced for him to understand. Lin Moyu stood on the palace square, feeling this incomprehensible mode of movement, his mind churning with the words that Holy Venerable How had said before. Holy Venerable How had told him some secrets of the ancient times, allowing Lin Moyu to gain a deeper understanding of that era. The outline of the ancient times became more complete and vivid in his mind. According to Holy Venerable How, the ancient times were an era of extremely prosperous cultivation, far more prosperous than now. In that era, god sovereigns were common, and the other shore realm was also very numerous. There were also many terrifying existences that surpassed the other shore realm. Cultivation was like a triangular tower, the higher you went, the harder it became, and the fewer people there were. Just from the base number of god sovereigns, one could infer how strong the ancient times were. At that time, if one only broke through to the god sovereign realm after the age of 1000, they were considered mediocre. Most people broke through to the god sovereign realm before the age of 700. Breaking through at 500 was considered a genius. Breaking through at 300 was a top genius. Like now, being able to break through to the god sovereign realm before the age of 3000 was already considered good. Later, an unprecedented war broke out in the ancient times, and that war ended the ancient era. Since then, the number of cultivators had decreased significantly, the speed of cultivation had decreased significantly, and countless secret techniques had been lost. The whole world seemed to have changed. The near-ancient era after the ancient times, and the current era, were all like this. Even more, they were facing an even more severe problem. Holy Venerable How did not say this problem because they could not be completely sure. Holy Venerable How's original words were, I cannot mislead you with unconfirmed information. He hoped that Lin Moyu would find the answer himself in the future. Lin Moyu expressed his understanding. At the same time, Lin Moyu also asked what kind of realm existed above the other shore realm. Holy Venerable Hao's expression became extremely complex at the time. He said, that is a realm that cannot be described in words. Only by reaching that realm can one know. In other words, even he did not know. In the subsequent conversation, Lin Moyu also learned that there were such existences in the human race. It was just that, due to some special reasons, these existences had disappeared. Where they went, where they hid, or for some other reason, Holy Venerable Hao did not know. Not only the human race, but also several other strong races had similar figures. They had all disappeared. Now, the strongest experts on the surface of the great world among the various races were those in the other shore realm. However, there was also a great difference between those in the other shore realm. Holy Venerable Hao was a strong expert in the other shore realm, with the title of Holy Venerable. Madame Yu, Old Lin, and Old Ancestor Shu were all at the level of just stepping into the other shore realm. This also made Lin Moyu realize that cultivation in the other shore realm was even more difficult. Every step forward could produce earth-shattering changes. The difference between each level in the other shore realm was even greater than the difference between God Sovereign and God King. The road of cultivation is endless. It is like sailing against the current, only by advancing bravely. Since I am here, I must continue to move forward, reach the end, and possess the strength to determine my fate. The end he thought of was different from the end others thought of. Almost everyone in the Great World aimed to control the Great World Rune. But the Great World Rune had already been broken. Since the Great World Rune could be broken, it meant that the Great World Rune was not the real end. But Lin Moyu wanted to see what level the guy who had crippled the Great World Rune was at. Perhaps, that is the end. I must reach it. Lin Moyu's heart was filled with great ambition. His soul body stretched out his hand and gently landed on the coffin of slumber, as if he could feel the warmth of his 4 beloved wives from it. After flying a long distance, the palace finally slowed down. The distorted space gradually recovered, and the sense of dislocation also disappeared. Layers of mist were peeled away, and a prosperous and huge starfield appeared in sight. God City was not a city, it was a prosperous and enormous starfield, just like the 4 great starfields. It contained countless stars and billions of stars. Countless points of light flickered within it, and Lin Moyu could feel its extraordinariness. Here, the laws became extremely obvious, making cultivation easier. Faintly, it seemed as if countless powerful auras were surging. At some point, Holy Venerable Hao came to his side and stood shoulder to shoulder with Lin Moyu. What is your first impression? Lin Moyu spoke his true thoughts. Very powerful. Powerful. Holy Venerable Hao chuckled. It's not wrong to use this word to describe it, but most people would say, very prosperous. Lin Moyu thought for a while, relying on his own feelings. He finally shook his head. No, I still think powerful is more appropriate. He did have this feeling. The entire God City gave him a sense of power. This feeling was indescribable, but it was real. Holy Venerable Hao did not continue to dwell on this issue. God City actually had other names before, such as Human Race God Realm, Human Race Holy Land, but War God Sama later changed it to God City. God City is a starfield. Its scale is even larger than the sum of the 4 great starfields. Especially the proportion of cultivators inside, far exceeds the 4 great starfields. Over countless years, countless cultivators who have entered God City, except for those who have died, are all cultivating and living in God City. They improve their strength in God City, give birth to offspring, establish families, or establish sects. Every star system in God City has a huge family. Perhaps in the future, you will also establish your own family force in God City. You have the honorary title of the 150th Army, so establishing a force will become extremely simple. Holy Venerable Hao treated Lin Moyu as a junior of the same generation, and at the same time, he was very optimistic about him, so he was extremely patient with him. If it were someone else, with the identity of a Holy Venerable, he would be too lazy to say so much to you. Lin Moyu asked, outside of God City, it seems that no one talks about the situation inside God City. Holy Venerable Hao said, that is because it is restricted. The Human Emperor Network does not allow it to be mentioned. Even if someone mentions it, the Human Emperor Network will erase the traces. Lin Moyu thought for a while, for a sense of mystery. Holy Venerable Hao laughed, you are very smart. A sense of mystery is indeed one of the major reasons, and there are some other reasons. You will naturally know about this kind of thing in the future. Now we are still far away from God City. Let me introduce you to the situation near God City. Holy Venerable Hao was talking about introducing the situation near God City, not the situation inside God City. This made Lin Moyu feel a little surprised. Holy Venerable Hao pointed to a location outside God City. There was a cluster of brilliant columnar nebula. The nebula emitted a hazy light, with countless colors interwoven together, extremely gorgeous. Compared to God City, the nebula was very small. If God City was an adult, then the nebula next to it would only be half a finger of this adult, or even smaller. But Lin Moyu knew that this nebula was actually very large. Holy Venerable Hao pointed to that nebula and said in a deep voice, that is an ancient relic. We named it, Fingertip Relic. Chapter 1559, that is the little finger of an ancient expert. Fingerprint remnants, ancient remains. Lin Mo's heart trembled slightly. Anything related to ancient times was never simple. The mysterious manor in the battlefield, the ancient tombs, the nether swamp, the Tulu world. Which one was simple? Each one was deadly. And next to the divine city, there was actually an ancient ruin. Moreover, the scale was so large. The palace changed its direction of flight, and gradually, Lin Mo saw the side of the nebula. From the side, the columnar nebula looked more like fingers. Hao Shungjun said, "You have been to several places related to ancient times when you were in the Vermilion Bird battlefield. Although those places are related to ancient times, the danger is not great. But the ancient ruins are different. The ancient ruins are extremely dangerous. Even if we enter, we may not be able to get out." Lin Mo was shocked again, it was so dangerous. The places he had been to, although related to the ancient times, were indeed not very dangerous for the existence of the other shore realm. Maybe the Tulu realm was dangerous, but the other shore realm could not enter, so the danger was gone. But the ancient ruins next to the divine city were so dangerous. Originally, he wanted to go and see, but now he immediately extinguished his curiosity. Hao Shungjun knew what Lin Mo was thinking. "You will definitely go to the ancient ruins in the future, but not now. What I want to tell you is that the reason why the divine city is here is partly related to the ancient ruins." "What do you think the ancient ruins look like? What do the ancient ruins look like?" Lin Mo said instinctively, "A finger." Hao Shungjun laughed and was very satisfied with Lin Mo's answer. "Yes, it is a finger, and it is a little finger." Following Hao Shungjun's words, the more he looked at it, the more it looked like a little finger, and it was still a human little finger. Then Lin Mo was suddenly shocked. Whose little finger could be so big? If the little finger is so big, how big should this person be? Hao Shungjun continued to explain, "This ancient ruin is about 10 light years wide and 70 light years long. We have tried to calculate that if we calculate according to the normal human ratio, if the little finger is so big, the height of this person will exceed 1500 light years." Isn't it hard to imagine that a person can grow to 1500 light years? Lin Mo was indeed a little surprised, which was beyond his imagination. How could a person be so big? 1500 light years, how many galaxies can it hold? This kind of person is not as simple as crushing stars. Ordinary stars are no different from a thread to him. Maybe inadvertently brushed, a star, or even a galaxy exploded. With a little shock, Lin Mo asked, "Is this a strong man from the ancient times?" Hao Shungjun was also a little serious at this time. This should be a terrifying existence beyond the other shore realm. This kind of existence has exceeded the scope of what we can understand. Lin Mo said, "So you said before that it was an indescribable and incredible existence." Hao Shungjun nodded seriously. This kind of existence can be very big, very small, real, or ethereal. What it is like, you can only know when you reach that level. Lin Mo nodded. Now he completely understood Hao Shungjun's words. Hao Shungjun continued, "As for this ancient site, we have been exploring it for the past hundreds of thousands of years and have gained a lot of information. Basically, it can be concluded that the powerful existence died in battle, and a section of his broken finger was left here. Originally, this level of existence can be reborn with a drop of blood. Even if there is only a broken finger, it is enough for him to be resurrected. But his enemy is very strong, and he was killed from the root. This broken finger left behind is just an appearance, and the flesh and blood inside have long collapsed. However, the power in the broken finger is condensed and not scattered. After countless years of evolution, it has finally become what it is now. Powerful forces are intertwined with various laws, producing changes, thereby evolving various strange things. Lin Mo was no stranger to this kind of thing. There were many such things in the battlefield. The stronger the power, the more bizarre the evolved things are, making people unable to understand. It is conceivable how scary the things in this ancient ruin in front of you will be. That is left by a strong man who has surpassed the other shore realm. At that level, even a hair is enough to kill oneself. Hao Shungjun once again urged, "At least you must reach the peak of the divine Venerable before you are qualified to enter the adventure." Lin Mo nodded, indicating that he understood. He is curious, and very heavy, but he is not stupid. Naturally, he would not do things that would kill him. The palace continued to approach the divine city, and the divine city was rapidly magnifying in sight, and the fingertip ruins were also magnifying. Although the palace slowed down, it was still faster than the teleportation array. The powerful aura of the divine city became more and more obvious, and Lin Mo finally knew where this sense of power came from. There is a very strong formation, shrouded in the divine city. The formations are not one, but countless dense formations, hundreds of millions, surrounding the entire divine city and the entire star field. Therefore, enemies who want to get close will be ruthlessly attacked by the formation. Moreover, the formation is extremely powerful. Behind the formation is an extremely prosperous star field, and the light of the stars becomes brighter and brighter. At the current speed, it will take a little time for the palace to truly enter the divine city. There is no teleportation array that can directly enter the divine city, you can only fly in. Hao Shungjun continued, the specific information about the divine city, you will naturally know when you get there. Whether you ask people or check information on the Human Emperor Network, you can understand. In the divine city, there are also some special places. If you want to take tasks in the divine city, remember to do what you can. Lin Mo hummed, indicating that he understood. For the sake of his little life, he would not mess around. Hao Shungjun suddenly changed the subject, I have a question, I hope you answer truthfully. His tone suddenly became serious, and Lin Mo knew that there must be something serious, you say. Hao Shungjun looked at Lin Mo and asked seriously, in the competition, did you see anything? Lin Mo directly admitted, I saw a rune composed of soul fire. Li Wangjiao, old ancestor Shu is right, you really found it. Tell me your opinion. Lin Mo shook his head, I don't have enough knowledge, I can't talk about any profound opinions. It doesn't matter, just say it. The formation creates life, and the rune provides wisdom. The rune of the rune comes from the soul fire, and these soul fires come from the souls of powerful people of all races. Although it is successful, I think this is not the right way to shake. This rune composed of soul fire does not seem to be perfect, it should not be used like this. Hao Shungjun listened to Lin Mo's analysis, and a flash of light flashed in his eyes, it seems that you have quite a research on runes. Lin Mo shook his head, I don't understand runes, it's just a feeling. Hao Shungjun smiled, not understanding but having a feeling, which is better than understanding runes. It shows that Lin Mo really has talent in this area. Your feeling is very keen, this is a good thing. If you have the opportunity in the future, you can try to study runes. There is a lot of information about runes in the Divine City, you will be interested. First 1560th chapters. No, you are allowed to teach, let him study by himself. The palace is not flying directly to the Divine City, it seems to have a fixed route, circling the Divine City, gradually approaching. The speed is still very fast, but the space-time distortion is not serious, Lin Mo can already roughly see the whole picture of the Divine City. This star field has obvious artificial traces. In the outermost area, there are densely packed tens or even hundreds of billions of stars. Countless stars form the first line of defense for the Divine City. Behind the stars, Lin Mo noticed a large number of warships, all of which were at the God Emperor realm. Although each warship was not as powerful as a God Emperor, when coordinated with an army, they could rival one. If hundreds of warships were to besiege a God Emperor, it was not impossible to kill one. Of course, the prerequisite was that the God Emperor fought to the death and wasn't too strong. Someone like Zhu Tian, a peak God Emperor, couldn't be killed by sheer numbers. The warships formed the second line of defense. After that were war god fortresses, mostly imitations, stronger than warships but fewer in number. Fewer only in relative terms, as there were still millions, enough to make one's scalp tingle. A glimpse of the human race's true strength was finally revealed, and Lin Mo was amazed. He realized that the wars he had experienced before were child's play. The human race had at least 90% of its strength hidden within the Divine City, never revealed to the outside world. However, Lin Mo also realized a possibility. If the human race could hide its strength like this, what about other races? Those strong races that once fought their way into the human race's heartland and invaded the Divine City, could their strength be weak? It seems that every race is not simple. And this strength, placed before Beyond Realm experts, seems like nothing. At the Beyond Realm level, quantity loses its meaning again. If it were even stronger, that giant whose body exceeded 1,000 light years, a single slap could cripple half the star field. What meaning would quantity have? Supreme experts. We still need supreme experts. On the other side of the palace, Ancestor Shu asked, what did he say? Ancestor Shu was asking about the Soulfire rune. He had told Holy Paragon Hao about his discovery. Holy Paragon Hao said, he doesn't understand runes, but he is very sensitive to them. How so? Ancestor Shu pressed. He said that there is something wrong with the Soulfire rune. Using Soulfire to drive it is probably not the correct method. Holy Paragon Hao conveyed Lin Mo's feeling. Ancestor Shu trembled, he actually saw it. Does he really not understand runes? Holy Paragon Hao shook his head, he wasn't lying. He really doesn't understand. Ancestor Shu murmured to himself, he doesn't understand runes, but he can see the problems within them. He has a natural sensitivity to runes. His eyes shone brightly, becoming increasingly brighter. He is a rune genius. No, I want to take him as a disciple and teach him ancient runes. Holy Paragon Hao waved his hand to stop Ancestor Shu. You can't. Ancestor Shu was puzzled. Why not? Holy Paragon Hao said, I told him that if he is interested in runes, he can study them on his own. You cannot teach him. Ancestor Shu's eyes widened. Although you are a holy paragon, you still need to be reasonable. Don't be anxious. Holy Paragon Hao chuckled. The teacup flew into Ancestor Shu's hand, and the teapot automatically flew over to pour tea for Ancestor Shu. Holy Paragon Hao slowly said, do you think that the ancient runes you study are 100% correct? Ancestor Shu snorted, of course. Oh, Holy Paragon Hao said with a smile, looking at him. Ancestor Shu revealed a bit of a guilty conscience, more than 90% are correct. A tiny error can lead to a huge mistake. Holy Paragon Hao's voice slowed down again, but it left Ancestor Shu unable to refute. Indeed, he had a deep understanding of ancient runes, including the Soulfire rune, which he researched. But what he researched might not be correct. If he taught Lin Mo and passed on the wrong ideas to Lin Mo, that wouldn't be a good thing. Holy Paragon Hao said, so, let him study on his own, let him comprehend on his own. This is the most correct method. Ancestor Shu was still a little unwilling, but this will waste a lot of time. Holy Paragon Hao smiled, if something goes wrong, even more time will be wasted. If you are willing, you can give him the ancient rune materials you have collected, but you are not allowed to mix in your own ideas. Ancestor Shu knew that he couldn't win against Holy Paragon Hao. After thinking for a long time, he finally sighed heavily, all right, I understand. When he reaches the peak of God Emperor, I will show him those rune materials. Ancient runes cannot be studied casually, they require realm support. If the realm is not high enough, even if you have some understanding, it is illusory and has no foundation. In the field of ancient runes, Ancestor Shu had gone far. Although not completely correct, his words were still authoritative. Realm is equivalent to the root of ancient runes. If the realm is insufficient, building high castles in the air is useless. Just like Lin Mo, with his amazing sensitivity, discovered that the Soulfire rune was not very correct. But he couldn't point out where the mistake was, and there were many things he didn't understand. This is the difference in realm. Ancestor Shu thought for a while, although I can't teach him runes, there are some things I still want to say to him. Don't stop me. Holy Paragon Hao gestured, as you wish. Ancestor Shu drank the Dao tea in one gulp, walking towards Lin Mo. With something on his mind, even the Dao tea seemed less fragrant. Ancestor Shu came to Lin Mo in a few steps. Little friend Lin, I heard you are very interested in runes. Lin Mo nodded. Senior, if I'm not mistaken, the Soulfire rune in the competition should have been arranged by you. Ancestor Shu was a little surprised. How did you know? I sensed your aura on the rune, Lin Mo replied truthfully. Ancestor Shu couldn't help but sigh. You are really sensitive. You can even sense this. The rune was indeed made by him, so he understood his own rune the most. Lin Mo's soul had already reached the Beyond Realm, but not all Beyond Realm experts could sense his aura. Ancestor Shu continued, runes are a very profound subject. You should know about the Great World runes, right? Lin Mo nodded. As long as they were cultivators, who wouldn't know about the Great World runes? That was common knowledge. Mentioning the Great World runes, Ancestor Shu's voice became low. The Great World runes are the foundation of our world, the root. No matter what spells or laws, they are all evolved from the Great World runes. So, studying runes is actually studying the fundamentals of this world. If one day you can thoroughly study the Great World runes, maybe you can control the Great World runes and become the master of this world. The low voice carried a hint of seduction, seemingly wanting to arouse Lin Mo's interest in runes. Unfortunately, Lin Mo didn't take the bait at all. Lin Mo's will was firm, unaffected by any external temptations. His interest in runes was purely spontaneous. In fact, Lin Mo really wanted to tell Ancestor Shu, you don't have to say so much, just tell me what you want. After Ancestor Shu finished speaking, he paused for a few seconds before continuing. Runes are divided into two types. One is the commonly used runes, called ordinary runes. These runes are relatively simple and easy to understand. The other is called ancient runes, which are much higher in level but difficult to understand. If you want to learn ancient runes, the best way is to first master ordinary runes and then come into contact with ancient runes. I have a copy of ordinary rune information here, which I will give to you as a gift. When you reach the peak of God Emperor in the future, I will show you the ancient rune information.